KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk radio. Hey there. It's the John Kobylt Show. We're on every day from 3 until 6. After 6 o'clock, it's the podcast, John Kobylt Show On Demand. It's the same as the radio show. It's for whatever you missed, and then you can catch up on it tonight or tomorrow. And also, we are live on YouTube, and we're live on X. Just go to your Twitter feed, and you could watch the show in its entirety, either on X or YouTube. Subscribe or become a member at youtube.com/@JohnKobyltShow. And 24 hours later, and the raves are still coming in. People online all day and night have been carrying on about Deborah's performance.
Should I quit my day job?
If you want to be a seductress, a professional seductress,
yeah,
you got a future. There's a lot of money.
Okay.
Ruby Rippey released her story to Vanity Fair. It read like a chapter in a book, and I think she does have a book coming out, so maybe there'll be sequels.
Ooh.
There has been a clamoring for sequels.
Okay, I'd like to star again.
You are. No, you've got that role.
Okay.
You've got it down. All right.
All right. I don't have to audition.
Big box office, excellent critical reviews. So whenever we get anything, in fact, if there are any stories like that from now on,
yeah,
all salacious stories,
okay,
you will have a starring role.
Ooh.
Okay, as the vixen, the seductress, as the adulteress.
Go on.
I'm glad I found the right music.
I've heard a lot of compliments about the music too. Yeah, the whole package was just terrific.
You're tainting my news anchor image.
I'm giving you a reputation.
I know.
By the way, if you didn't hear it, it's the first hour of the podcast from yesterday, first half hour. So you'd enjoy it, and kind of recreated her read like diary entries, really. Speaking of diary entries, Anthony Fauci got roasted and tortured before a Senate Senate committee was conducting a hearing. You've probably heard about his diaries this week. When COVID was happening, he realized he was living through an unusual chapter, as we all were, and he wrote down his thoughts every day. And somehow, Senator Rand Paul from Tennessee, or no, he's from Kentucky, I think, isn't he? And Senator Rand Paul got a hold of over 1,000 pages of his diaries. Apparently, one of Fauci's assistants, some other bureaucrat, and gave it to Rand Paul. Rand Paul released him. And it turned out Fauci was a megalomaniac. I mean, he was absolutely overwhelmed with all the publicity and adoration he got. And it really went to his head. And he just could not stop writing to himself about how wonderful everybody thought he is. And also, it turns out that he wrote in the diary things that were at odds with what he said publicly. And you know, Fauci for a long time has had a bad stink on him. He never should have given his approval to shutting down the country the way it was shut down, and not pushing back on all these insane policies that the likes of Gavin Newsom used to really destroy our freedoms here in California, more so than any other state. See, I've always taken this personally because I, like you, probably had to live through it. And we went through a lot of nonsense. And to find out later that there was no real science behind the masks and no science behind standing 6 feet away, and there was no science about locking down the schools. They were just making it up. It turned out much of that had really no effect on the spread. The spread went on the way these things do. You know, just about everybody caught it to some extent. The vaccine helped lessen the severity in a lot of people. I mean, I'm not one of those anti-vax people, but I really thought that people should have had the choice in that matter. And looking at all the people who were fired, whose careers were derailed, kids whose childhoods were ruined for a couple of years, and a lot of them never caught up. I mean, it really caused permanent brain damage for a lot of children because they had no education for 2 years. And it's just one of the most absurd, ridiculous, shameful chapters in the history of mass hysterias. It really is. And believe me, 500 years from now, this will be looked on more as a mass hysteria than it is going to be a virus, a deadly virus outbreak, because the reaction of people was just pure panic, and the panic was sustained forever.
We were nervous too. Remember how scared we were?
It was hard not to be, because Fauci presented himself as the guy who knows stuff. We had him on the show. It was not a contentious interview. He wanted to hear what he thought was going on. And then you find out, his behind-the-scenes writing and his behind-the-scenes conversations. Joe Biden gives him a full preemptive pardon, and that was really suspicious. And then to top it all off today, he testifies before Rand Paul's committee, and he takes the Fifth Amendment 111 times. Now, can you imagine? You take it 111 times after you got a preemptive pardon? And the big sin for me is he was sending, he ran the National Institute of Health, and he was sending federal money, our tax money, to the Wuhan laboratory, which was then used for the infamous gain of function research, which alters viruses to make them more powerful and more contagious, which is what they were working on there. And then somebody made a very bad mistake inside the laboratory, and that unleashed the virus. And he pushed the wet market theory in Wuhan, where you had Chinese merchants selling raw food, wild animals that the locals used to enjoy. And I don't know how that got political, and I suspect he pushed that story because he knew what had happened. He knew he had financed the gain of function research in the virus, and he had to cover it up. And so he covered it up by giving his stamp of approval to the alternate theory, which was nonsense. And to mislead hundreds of millions of people like that, well, billions of people around the world, is just, there should be a prison for that. There should be a prison for denying tens of millions of children their education for a year and a half. There should be a prison for denying people a way to earn a living for a year and a half. Either they got fired because they objected to the virus, or all the businesses that Gavin Newsom shut down here, as an example. And you talk about tyranny, you talk about fascism. We lived through it. And they should never be forgiven. Anthony Fauci and Gavin Newsom should never be forgiven. And, of course, Newsom had his French Laundry moment, and we found out at the very week that Fauci was telling people not to have dinner with your relatives for Thanksgiving. He was sitting down with a CNN anchor, Jake Tapper, and they were having dinner together. And Fauci was carrying on and bragging about it in his diary. And the hypocrisy of all this, you can only explain it by, there's a dark aspect to human nature where some people really love to control other people. And Fauci and Newsom had their moment where they could control the lives of many millions. And it went to their heads. They got quite intoxicated with it. And because they're both sociopaths, they didn't care about the damage it did. And they've got no regrets. They've got no remorse about it. You can call them names all day and night. When we come back, I'm going to play you. I lived vicariously through the Ohio Senator today, Bernie Moreno, and the Missouri Senator, Josh Hawley, because they gave Fauci exactly what he deserved. And Fauci had no answer because he had invoked the Fifth Amendment 111 times. So we'll play those clips when we come back. There she is.
Hi, John.
I decided I do want you to do the news, and I want you to talk to me that way throughout the show. Deborah Mark, live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Here's the latest. A dangerous heat wave is expected to grip Southern California starting tomorrow, and an actor is denying new allegations of sexual misconduct. We'll have more at the bottom of the hour. We're going back to the 134 next.
Declare your independence from dated, tired windows. This July, American Vision Windows is offering a savings of $1,776. That's how much you'll save off new windows, which lower your energy bills. And they give you year-round comfort, and your home gets a big curb appeal boost, they call it. With 25 years and more than 1 million windows installed, American Vision Windows is California's most trusted window replacement company. And they're employee-owned, which means every employee has a personal stake in getting your project right. So you're going to have a smooth process. Most projects will be completed in just a day. You're not going to live in a construction zone. And this month, for a few more days, this project costs a lot less, $1,776 less. You got to book it by July 31st. New customers only. Restrictions apply. Call or see the website for details. AmericanVisionWindows.com. Call 888-771-2188. 888-771-2188.
Southline weather from KFI. It's going to be sunny tomorrow afternoon and hot, 70s to the triple digits. This report brought to you by Mattress Firm. From your Toyota dealer's traffic center, we make it easy. We have an update on that crash on the 134 in Pasadena.
It's getting a little closer to being out of lanes. This is on the eastbound side of the 134 coming up on San Rafael Avenue. That's where the carpool and left lanes have been off limits. And what I mean by closer is the tow truck's on the way. If they're not on scene yet, they're going to hook up these cars and haul them away. But in the meantime, that drive is pretty stacked. I mean, the worst delays are backing up all the way out of Eagle Rock, leaving the 2. But overall slowing for the 134 is pushing back out of Griffith Park, getting away from Forest Lawn Drive. Now, some good news in Fullerton. Stuck truck 57 southbound coming up on Nutwood is history. All lanes are open. Delays improving from Imperial Highway. And watch out in Rubidoux. A wreck on the 60 eastbound of Rubidoux Boulevard's in that right lane. You're on the brakes from Pyrite. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
Still sleeping on that old bed? Mattress Firm's sleep experts can help you choose the perfect upgrade. They'll guide you every step, answering your questions. Shop today and save big during the best sale of the year. They make sleep easy.
This report is sponsored by Pro-Life Across America.
Hi, I'm Angie. Did you know a billboard can save a baby's life? It's true. You can make a difference by helping us spread the pro-life message to reach those who are struggling with an unplanned pregnancy. Please make a gift today. Visit prolifeacrossamerica.org.
7 days on a Mexican Riviera cruise is the easiest way to make the whole family happy. Something for everyone and you, of course. Beach time, culture, food, relaxation, and stellar sweeping ocean views right from your cabin. Life on board luxurious Norwegian ships should be experienced at least once in your lifetime. And the iconic ports and entertainment of the Mexican Riviera make this vacation a no-brainer, especially if you're in LA. A Norwegian cruise vacation means you don't have to worry about logistics. 2027 bookings from LA and San Diego are live now. You'll go to Cabo, Puerto Vallarta, Ensenada, Mazatlan. Party, relax, explore. You don't have to choose. You can do it all. Casual bites to sophisticated dining, whatever you're in the mood for all the time on board a Norwegian cruise. Open air decks to feel the breeze. I can feel it now. Norwegian Cruise Line. It's different out here. Book your cruise now. Visit ncl.com, call your travel advisor, or call 188-NCL-CRUISE.
Take action for your retirement. Call Golden Crest Metals, 888-447-7857.
Call 844-GO-SMILE to learn about the new Lifestyle Smile dental implants from Lasting Smiles.
Curious how you would look? PlasticSurgeryUncensored.com. PlasticSurgeryUncensored.com.
Beat the heat without breaking the bank at Wild Rivers Water Park in Irvine. Summer's hottest days mean the coolest savings at WildRivers.com. With 25 attractions to thrill and chill, Wild Rivers delivers sun and fun for everyone. Visit wildrivers.com for more information.
It's your home and your home equity. Shouldn't you be able to access it? You would think so. But the bank said otherwise. Well, when HELOC said no, Splitero said go. You can get cash now and pay back later when you sell, refinance, or settle early.
Tell me more.
A Splatero HEI requires only a 500 minimum credit score and no income requirement.
What's the catch?
Well, you keep your home and your existing mortgage rate.
That's not a catch.
Splatero also personalized the process so you can get your funds faster.
Also not a catch.
Splatero's safety cap limits short-term costs, no matter how much your home appreciates. And their maturity match term lines up your timeline and your existing mortgage, so repurchasing is easier.
Do you even know what a catch is?
Yeah, I just couldn't think of one. Visit Splatero.com today and access your home's equity. That's SPLITERO.com. No monthly payments, just cash in hand. Splatero.
By the way, if you want somebody to just trash talk you, get yourself one of those Garmin watches. If you want somebody to hate you like you hate yourself, well, get yourself a Garmin watch. Could never do well enough. You take a walk and it's like, is that it?
Your mediocre workout has been logged.
I have a ring that I don't even know what the time limit is, but every once in a while it'll ask that question like the old Nintendo Wii used to do, which is like,
were you paralyzed from the waist down today?
It's like the opposite of affirmation. I'm never good enough.
Gary and Shannon.
Waddling into the studio this morning at 9.
More stimulating talk.
A lot of apps like to say they're free until they ask for your credit card. iHeartRadio is different. No required subscriptions, no trial periods, no surprise charges. We make money from our advertisers, not from you. It's the same radio you've never paid for. Live radio stations, playlists, podcasts, and artist stations all in one app. So if you haven't already, download the free iHeartRadio app. Free radio. Always has been, always will be. Now wherever you go.
iHeartRadio. KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk.
Coming up on the Conway Show, Tim Conway Jr. is back hosting the Conway Show. If that's not enough to get you to listen, well, I don't know what is. Tonight on KFI.
All right, here's $1,000 for you.
Now is your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Bonus. That's BONUS. Enter it now at KFIAM640.com/cash.
KFI. Bonus. Enter at KFI. Enter that word at KFIAM640.com/cash. If you win, you'll get an email. Check your junk and spam folder. And there's a winning keyword every hour, every weekday from 9 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon. Next chance to win here is at 4:20 on KFI. So you'll probably see a lot of the hot clips from Anthony Fauci getting beaten up by the senators for this Senate committee, Chairman Rand Paul. And again, he's the Republican from Kentucky. And he is an MD. He's an ophthalmologist by trade, and he's extremely smart. You can't get anything past him. And he's been hammering on Fauci for years and years. And today, Fauci had to sit there and take it. Now, I can't emphasize enough that Fauci accepted a full preemptive pardon from Joe Biden, which anybody who accepts a pardon, anyone who's given a pardon, that means you've committed felonies and you're being protected. And, you know, the big sin, he's committed a lot of sins, but he actually partly financed the virus research in Wuhan and then tried to cover it up and divert attention by pointing at that animal market, which always seemed preposterous, that you've got one of the foremost research centers actually working on this COVID virus. And he says, no, it wasn't. The lab had nothing to do with it. It happened to spontaneously, coincidentally come from that animal market down the road. But people went for it because of the hysteria that hit this country. Anyway, Fauci finally got his publicly. We're going to play first, cut number one, Senator Bernie Moreno of Ohio. And in this clip, you will hear the question of the year.
I cannot stand idly on the side and watch this happen. It was about 6 years ago today that I decided I'm going to give up my businesses, sell them all, run for office, run for the United States Senate. Here I am sitting in front of you 6 years later saying, who the do you think you were for doing that? It is a total disgrace what you did to this country. And if my Democrat colleagues are standing there defending you, I hope the voters of the United States of America watch the clips of every one of you doting on a guy who was more interested in being a celebrity than saving American people. I will make it my mission to make certain that every single one of those Democrats who did that will see that clip over and over and over again. Because there is no defense of what you did. You may have had a 50-plus year legacy of public service, but it ends in total and complete disgrace. So let me ask you an opportunity to answer one question. Will you apologize, just apologize, to the people who you harmed through your actions? Will you say, do you have the dignity to just say you're sorry?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
So you won't apologize to the military members who Joe Biden summarily dismissed from the military for not taking the vaccine?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Will you apologize to the business owners that lost their business, shattered their lives, and they'll never recover?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Will you apologize to the moms who had to force their infant children, 2, 3, 4-year-olds, to put masks on, and what that did and how that traumatized those kids?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Will you apologize to the family members of the people who died because they took your advice and not only got the first vaccine, but the 5, 6 other boosters that they did not need?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Will you apologize to that mom from Ohio for being arrested for watching a football game with her family?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Is that it? I thought maybe we were going to hear all 111 invocations there. By the way, the Fifth Amendment is to protect you from incriminating yourself. That's the other part of that famous phrase, that you invoke your right on the grounds that it may tend to incriminate me. And really, so there was 111 questions where Fauci felt an answer, even an apology, would incriminate him criminally, even though he's already gotten a preemptive pardon from Joe Biden. Now, I've read it was an auto-pen pardon, so it's possible at some point those pardons would be invalidated and then Fauci would be exposed. We come back. I'm going to tell you about one of his invocations of the Fifth Amendment regarded CIA funding of Fauci's agency. What did they have to do with this? And also, I want to play a clip of Josh Hawley, the senator from Missouri, because that was, he really roughed Fauci up too. We'll do all that next. Deborah Mark live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
A dangerous heat wave is expected to grip Southern California starting tomorrow and continuing through the weekend. The National Weather Service says inland temps could climb into the upper 90s and low 100s, with some desert communities topping 110 degrees. Officials are urging people to stay hydrated, avoid strenuous outdoor activity during the hottest part of the day, and never leave kids or pets in parked cars. President Trump appears to be changing from his previous stance that the U.S. would not strike Iran while they attempt negotiations. ABC's Stephen Portnoy says it is a response to yesterday's surprise attack targeting U.S. forces.
Each of the incoming Iranian rockets was taken down. Now, without providing specifics, the president also said of Iran, we're going to smack them a little bit.
Meanwhile, U.S. and Saudi strikes killed at least 20 Iraqi fighters and coordinated attacks across Iraq as fighting in the region continued to expand. eBay has agreed to pay nearly $56 million to a couple in Massachusetts after several former eBay workers harassed them with bizarre and gruesome deliveries. ABC's Hannah Batas says a bloody pig Halloween mask and live cockroaches were sent to the owners of an online newsletter that was often critical of eBay.
Back in 2020, 7 eBay employees were charged with harassment, including an alleged plan to hide a GPS tracker on the Steiner's car. Most of the defendants pleaded guilty.
eBay has condemned the harassment and apologized, saying it was reprehensible. Actor Jared Leto is denying new allegations of sexual misconduct.
Hollywood's Darkest Open Secret, a new BBC documentary, features 4 women who accuse the Oscar winner and 30 Seconds to Mars frontman of sexual assault.
And then he just goes, if you're going to sleep here, you're going to wake up with a in your ass.
In the documentary, Alex says she met the actor after a 2013 concert when she was 19, but Leto believes she was 17. It also alleges sexual phone calls between Leto and teenagers and a 14-year-old who was invited backstage after a concert. Leto has called the allegations categorically false. Heather Brooker, KFI News.
And a doggy duo is trying to save Lake Tahoe homes from being destroyed by bears.
The Nevada Department of Wildlife has deployed Badger and Banjo, 2 highly skilled bear dogs, to scare away bears from multi-million-dollar properties around the lake. Officials say the black bear population has skyrocketed around Tahoe due to conservation efforts, and the dogs are there to only give the bears a bad experience when getting too close to people. The dogs' trainers say the pups are used to help trap bears to be sent back into the deep wilderness. Jason Campidonia, KFI News.
We're going to the 91 next.
Inheriting a home, that can be overwhelming. You have repairs, and it takes a lot of time to get everything ready to sell it. More trouble than it's worth. That's where Seller's Advantage comes in. Here's testimony from a real customer who inherited a home. And he said it would have taken us a lot of time, money, and headaches to get the property in shape. I heard about Seller's Advantage from radio commercials and decided to give them a try. The offer was reasonable, so we accepted it, and they took care of all the physical and effort and legal complexities, and we closed within 3 weeks. So call Seller's Advantage. No matter what the reason to sell. 888-321-AS-IS, 888-321-AS-IS, 888-321-2747, or go to sellersadvantage.com for a free no-obligation cash offer.
Seller's Advantage will buy your home, make it easy so that you don't have to worry. Sell happy with Seller's Advantage.
DRA number 01961658. Providence Realty DRE number 01915212.
Southland weather from KFI. Low clouds and fog back again in the morning. Then it will be sunny. Highs 80s to mid-90s. Metro LA 90s to the triple digits in the valleys, the high desert, and the IE. It's going to be windy again in the high desert and the IE. Mid to upper 70s for the beaches. Low to mid-80s inland OC. Right now 82 in Laguna Woods and 88 in Rancho Santa Margarita. Crashed on the 91 in Anaheim Hills.
This is the westbound side of the 91 just before Imperial Highway, and that's where the left lane has been blocked due to this earlier crash. I'm still seeing a bit of a backup getting away from just about the 241, maybe a little closer to Weir Canyon, right around there, but it's all jammed up. That eastbound side of the 91 slowing in Anaheim from just about the 57 freeways you travel back towards Green River. Let's look at Pasadena, see what kind of progress they're making on that 134, making your way eastbound, coming up at San Rafael. Earlier crash had been blocking the carpool and left lanes. You know, it's looking pretty it's not very crowded there right now. Just a little bit of a crowd up from about Figueroa. So I'm guessing they probably have these cars out of lanes by now. Tow trucks were just arriving at last check. If you see it, pound 250, keyword KFI traffic with Southern California's most accurate traffic reports. I'm Angel Martinez.
Therapy Thursday with LNK is a new podcast. Confessions, impossible dilemmas, and advice that hits home. Catch every episode on the iHeartRadio app and wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, it's Conway here for Cars for Kids. We've donated 2 vehicles to Cars for Kids, and man, was it easy. Cars for Kids has been around for 30 years, and they know what they're doing. I recently saw firsthand one of their summer programs going on right now where they have over 1,400 kids. I saw hundreds of kids in the camp, and they couldn't thank Cars for Kids enough for making this incredible opportunity possible. So when you donate a car, you're helping real kids thrive this summer. CarsForKids.org. 1-877-CARS for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. That's cars with a K.
Visit LearCapital.com for your free gold investment kit. That's LearCapital.com.
Look at all the complaints that our competitors have on their BBB ratings. GiveMeTheVin.com is a 5-star rated company. We do what we say we're going to do. It's that easy.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear. A child is in danger and your help is needed. Please listen closely to this Amber Alert.
The civil authorities have issued a child abduction emergency for Imperial CA, Kern CA, Los Angeles CA, Orange CA, Riverside CA, San Bernardino CA, San Diego CA, San Luis Obispo CA, and Ventura CA, beginning at 3:26 p.m. and ending at 5:26 p.m. An Amber Alert is being issued by the California Highway Patrol on behalf of the Ridgecrest Police Department. On July 29, 2026 at 1,130 hours, Maximus Roman, Kaiser Roman and Haley Roman were abducted from Ridgecrest, California. Maximus is a 10-year-old Hispanic male, 4 feet 7 inches tall, weighing 50 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. Kaiser is a 8-year-old Hispanic male, 4 feet 6 inches tall, weighing 45 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. Haley is a 4-year-old Hispanic female, 3 feet 4 inches tall, weighing 30 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. The suspect, Julio Roman Garcia, is a 29-year-old Hispanic male, standing 5 feet 11 inches tall, weighing 400 pounds with black hair and brown eyes. The suspect was last seen driving a 2014 gray Honda Accord with California license plate number 9RUN898. If seen, call 911.
KFI is all over it. Keep it here on KFI for the very latest. KFI AM 640.
Tap into happy hour with half-priced pizzas and select apps every weekday at Yard House. Find yours at yardhouse.com.
Love your legs again. Feel incredible. Just call 1-800-WEST Medical.
The House Whisperer meets the Horse Gambler. Dean Sharp joins Tim Conway Jr. every Thursday evening at 7:20. More stimulating talk on KFI.
KFI, AM 640, live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. John Kobylt Show. We're on from 3 to 6, and after 6 o'clock, John Kobylt Show on demand, the podcast. Same as the radio show. We're live on YouTube. We're live on X right now. And let's get back to the Fauci testimony today, where he took the Fifth Amendment 111 times while getting grilled by Rand Paul, the chairman, and a number of other Republican senators. He is somebody who got a full pardon from Joe Biden, and yet he wanted to invoke the Fifth Amendment so as not to incriminate himself. Yeah, well, and one of the questions that he refused to ask or respond to in any way, refused to answer or respond, is Rand Paul asking Fauci whether the CIA had ever funded Fauci's agency, the National Institute for Allergy and Infectious Diseases. And later on, Rand Paul said that he had obtained documents describing the money that went from the CIA to Fauci's agency, which is now called the NIAID. Also, Fauci wouldn't respond about his former senior advisor, who since has been indicted, and he's pleaded not guilty to destroying federal records. And whether he engaged in evasive record keeping. He used a personal cell phone and an email address to hide the information. That's the claim against Fauci. Fauci wouldn't respond to that. Rand Paul says our investigation reveals your assistant diligently reported that she deleted tons of emails in 2024. You testified that you did not delete federal records. Who's telling the truth? We don't know because Fauci refused to answer that question. Rand Paul asked on February 2nd, 2020, you told Francis Collins, please delete this email after you read it. So he has deleted a lot of files and a lot of emails and messages, hidden others. And every time he was questioned, he responded with the Fifth Amendment. Now let's play this clip of Josh Hawley. And he goes after Fauci and his bloated, inflated, out of control ego. Listen to some of this stuff.
And here's the real thing. At the end of the day, it wasn't just about the money, really, was it? It was really about a power trip. I mean, through all of this, you want to be the most famous scientist in the world. You were so focused on getting every award and every drop of cash that you could, all because you wanted to be on TV. You wanted to be the sun god of science. You wanted to be the guy who was in charge of it all. You wanted to lambaste Trump. You wanted to make sure that nobody else stole your spotlight. You wanted to be the guy. You had time to sit for InStyle magazine. Here's what you were doing with your time. You could sit for InStyle magazine, but you can't answer questions for the American people. You could sit for InStyle magazine, but you're here taking the fifth. You could sit for InStyle magazine and get $1 million in cash awards. But now the cat's got your tongue. I bet he does. I tell you what, here's my conclusion from all of this. This was really all about you the whole time. Somewhere along the way, you lost your way. You may have been a good public servant at one time. I don't know. But I can tell you from reading your emails now, from looking at what you did, how you used your employees, somewhere along the line, it became all about you. You became a narcissist and a megalomaniac and a liar. And you've lied to the American people, and you've lied to this body. And you've disgraced your profession by doing it. You called yourself the most famous scientist in the world. You've done more to harm science than anybody in my lifetime. And I hope you'll go home and write that in your diary.
Josh Hawley, the Republican from Missouri. And again, Fauci deserves every bit of this and 10 times more. And he sat there stone-faced. Here's a guy in his 80s, right? And he is getting absolutely obliterated, and he doesn't fight back. Why is he not fighting back? How do you sit there and take all that abuse from the senators? Instead, you invoke the Fifth Amendment? Because there's even darker secrets. There's more illegality that he has covered up. What were in all those endless emails and messages that he destroyed? And when Hawley said that he won cash prizes totaling over $1 million, I thought, well, what is that? Well, later on, Hawley said that you were using federal employees with taxpayer money. I've never heard of this. To apply and solicit cash prizes for you personally. He got the Dan David Award. He got the Partnership for Public Service. He got the Adelson Prize. He got the Smithsonian Award. He got the National Academy of Medicine's Award. You got the CDC Foundation Award. He used 8 separate federal employees on federal time, on your time, using federal resources to apply for awards that paid him $1 million in cash. The guy's in his 80s. He's got plenty of money. We hired this guy to run the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. He gives a lot of garbage information, is one of the conspirators in shutting down the nation, destroying children's education, destroying a lot of jobs. And on our time, not even his private time, on our time, he's applying for awards and getting them. That he makes Newsom look well balanced. I mean, this is like a narcissistic ego. Like, honestly, this outdoes Newsom. I don't think Newsom sits around applying for awards, although he did have a bronze bust made of his head that's in some San Francisco building. And by the way, Fauci cited the Fifth Amendment. It's a shameful period. I'm sorry I had to live through this, and my family had to live through this, and you all had to live through this. It was tremendously stupid. It was obviously stupid at the time. But when you spoke up, people tried to shut you down. People were censored. People were ostracized. People lost jobs. It's a strange period, the kind of period that you only read about happening in communist societies like China or Russia or Cuba. But everybody went along with it. And that's where I remember a quote by somebody, and I don't know who. He said, human beings are really like, farm animals. They're frightened and they move in packs. Easily frightened and they move in packs. And that's true. We're just like a bunch of monkeys in the jungle. And somebody starts making a lot of noise and everybody goes crazy and screaming and they start throwing coconuts and...
Remember all the hoarding of toilet paper?
Oh, my God. Yeah, I remember that. I'll never forget being in a Ralph's and hearing, the assistant manager at Ralph's screaming over the intercom, trying to stop people from taking out hundreds of rolls of toilet paper. People with hundreds of rolls stacked up on their shopping carts. What a frenzy. And I knew it was a hysterical frenzy at the time. It's like, this is really outrageous, abnormal. And then I realized that human beings are really a screwed up species. All right, more coming up. Deborah Mark, live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Here is the latest. The company that runs the burned-out food storage warehouse in Boyle Heights facing bigger fines, and the LA County Department of Health reporting a typhus outbreak in the Pico Union neighborhood. We'll have more at the top of the hour. We're going back to the 91 next.
Lasting Smiles dental implants. Transform your smile with the Lasting Smiles Summer Smile Special. If you have a mouthful of rotted teeth, nobody wants to look at that. You don't look at it, right? You don't look in the mirror in the morning anymore. It's too awful. They're rotted, decayed, they're damaged, they're missing. Well, with the Summer Smile Special, you'll get a free comprehensive dental exam, full 3D imaging, custom treatment plan, payments as low as $149 a month. You can do that. And that's on approved credit. Mention KFI, mention John, and you get the Summer Smile Special. LastingSmiles.com. Call 844-GO-SMILE. 844-GO-SMILE. 844-GO-SMILE.
From your Toyota dealer's traffic center, we make it easy. We're going back to the 91 in Anaheim Hills.
So there's a crash now on the 91 freeway. This is making your way along the eastbound side, and it's right at the 241 toll road. Make that a stall instead. It's in the middle lane. Delays backing up overall from Kramer-LaSalle getting out of Anaheim on the westbound side of the 91 just before Imperial Highway. That's a crash. The left lane's blocked here, and that's sending you back away from Weir Canyon. We're looking at Rubidoux. It's a wreck on the 60 eastbound at Rubidoux Boulevard. The right lane's blocked and delays are loading up away from Pyrite. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
Infinity Bank. Most banks give you a call center. Infinity Bank gives you the president, Victor Guerrero, to speak directly to. Call 657-223-1000 or visit Infinity Bank.
Dealing with auto insurance on your own can be very complicated and expensive, but AAA makes it easy. You switch today, you can save up to 21%. With AAA, you get coverage that you can trust, plus AAA is by your side whenever you need support. And if it's flexibility you need, AAA offers customizable coverage options to fit your budget. But the savings don't stop there. Bundle 2 or more policies or insure multiple vehicles to unlock even more savings. Ready to make the switch? Visit AAA.com, and see how much you can save today.
This is Doug Gottlieb. Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network.
Presented by iHeartAdvertising.com.
Tempers flared at Bengals training camp today with star wide receiver Jamar Chase right in the thick of things. That a second-year defensive end Shamar Stewart was carted off the practice field with a left leg injury. The Saints' defensive lineman Brian Brzee suffered a torn ACL at practice today. And Panthers rookie receiver Chris Brazel suffered an LCL tear at his left knee. He'll miss up to 8 weeks. I'm Frank Garrity.
Run a business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because people are listening to radio more today than they did 20 years ago. And only iHeartRadio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart. This report is sponsored by Dell Technologies.
Back to school starts now. Get long-lasting battery life on the Dell XPS laptop powered by Series 3 Intel Core so you can work from anywhere. Now from $699 with exclusive student pricing from $599. Shop now at Dell.com/deals.
Sports injuries can keep you off the field, off the court, out of the activities you love. At Hoag Orthopedic Institute, fellowship-trained orthopedic sports medicine specialists treat athletes of every level, from weekend warriors to elite competitors. Hoag Orthopedic Institute doctors serve up top-level teams and athletes across the region, and they're the official healthcare and sports medicine partner of the CIF Southern Section, Trinity League, and many top college sports programs across Southern California. They offer the latest innovations in non-surgical treatments and, when needed, minimally invasive surgery designed to get you back faster and safer. And they treat everything from sudden sports injuries or complex orthopedic conditions affecting your knee, shoulder, hip, wrist, ankle, even your back. Hoag builds a personalized treatment plan, proudly physician-owned, accepting most PPO and Medicare insurance plans. Call 800-919-2000, 800-919-2000. Visit HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com.
When power goes out and cell networks fail, AM radio can be a lifeline with local news, weather, and emergency information. But time is running out. AM radio could disappear from new cars unless Congress acts. Please text the 2 letters AM to 39179 and tell Congress to vote yes on the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act. Text the letters AM to 39179. Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to STOP. This message furnished by this station.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter.
Worried about inflation, market volatility, or the weakening dollar? More Americans are turning to physical gold and silver to help diversify their retirement savings. Right now, receive up to $25,000 in free silver with a qualifying purchase. Call 888-447-7857 now to speak with a gold specialist. That's 888-447-7857. Again, call 888-447-7857. Not a financial advisor. Precious metals involve risk. Free silver offers a 10% bonus in silver on qualifying purchases of premium mint coins. $10,000 minimum purchase required. Bonus silver capped to $25,000 and credited to customer accounts. See goldencrestmetals.com for full terms.
I'm not great with words after a fight, and I'm sorry wasn't cutting it this time. So I used Smile Tunes to write a soulful ballad about how she's always right. By the second chorus, the silent treatment was officially over. Visit smiletunes.com and get out of the doghouse today.
By the way, if you want somebody to just trash talk you, get yourself one of those Garmin watches. If you want somebody to hate you like you hate yourself, Will, get yourself a Garmin watch. Could never do well enough. You take a walk and it's like, is that it?
Your mediocre workout has been logged.
I have a ring that I don't even know what the time limit is, but every once in a while it'll ask a question like the old Nintendo Wii used to do, which is like,
were you paralyzed from the waist down today?
It's like the opposite of affirmation. Never good enough.
Gary and Shannon.
Waddling into the studio tomorrow morning at 9.
More stimulating talk. KFI AM 640.
More stimulating talk.
John Kobylt Show. KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk radio. Moist line is 877-MOIST-86 for Friday. 877-MOIST-86. Maybe you got some thoughts on Fauci you want to share. We'll play it twice Friday in the 5 o'clock hour. Royal Oaks is going to come on with his view of what went on today between Anthony Fauci and Rand Paul's Senate hearing from ABC News, the legal analyst. We'll talk about why he invoked the Fifth Amendment and related matters. The other day we talked about how a Brown University president smoked out that most of his class on a midterm exam used AI, and he figured it out and voided all the tests. They had to take the test over, and most of them then failed badly. Another professor has pulled a sting operation. This is a good one. Jason Gibson at Alcorn State University in Mississippi, history professor. He put in white text into the test instructions on screen. White text doesn't show up. So when the students downloaded the questions to feed into AI, I guess you download it, you scan the test, and then AI spits out an essay. Well, the white text had an instruction to place the word Madagascar somewhere in the response in a way that makes no sense. So everybody downloaded the exam, scanned it, fed it into AI, and their AI followed the instruction, which the students couldn't see, but AI could pick up. And AI put in a nonsense phrase with the word Madagascar. And that was the proof that they'd used AI. And 32 out of 35 students.
No way.
Yes. And the professor was stunned, overwhelmed. He thought maybe it'd be 10 or less. 32 out of 35. And not only did they do that, use AI, they never proofread what came back. Because here's some of the responses from their own AI. Madagascar purple bicycle whispers to the ceiling. Madagascar wore a toaster to a basketball game. What is the point of everybody going to college?
I would fail every one of them.
What?
I was an adjunct professor, you know.
You oh, that's right, you were.
Uh-huh.
How did that go?
It went.
You never did it again, huh?
No, I did. I enjoyed engaging with the students. I don't like writing tests. And
you know, well, you could have AI write the test.
That's
now.
true. Now maybe I would do it again.
Of course, you'd get AI answers.
And then I would flunk everyone.
And then you could trap them with your own AI.
Yeah.
But it's like, what? Professors ought to completely give up on this. It should be pen, paper, and a locked room. That's it. Why is that so hard? I know several professors, friends, and they said it is overwhelming. And one of them said, well, one of them quit. He says, not doing another class. He was like you, just doing adjunct professor, doing occasional classes. He says, no, I'm giving up. I'm not dealing with this. Another one says, yeah, it's going to be pen and paper in the classroom. But you know what's funny? The schools and the department heads, they often cave into this nonsense. I don't know. It's turned it into such a big joke. And then this crowd, all right, this is, the Gen Z crowd, they're going to come out and claim, well, this job market's terrible. I don't like working. Look at all the demands they make on me. I have to think and write for myself. And then they'll start screaming about income inequality because the few people who didn't use AI can think and could do critical thinking and are much better employees, and they'll get the promotions and they'll get the money. Oh, income inequality. It's like, no, you're a stupid, dumb pile of crap. All right, we come back. Royal Oaks, Deborah Mark Live, KFI 24-hour newsroom.
KFI. and KOST HD2, Los Angeles, Orange County. More stimulating talk.
More fines. I'm Deborah Mark, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. The company that runs the burned-out food storage warehouse in Boyle Heights is now facing bigger fines. The LA Department of Public Health says it's now fining Lineage Logistics $2,000 a day, up from $500 a day for violations after the fire that left millions of pounds of rotting food baking in the summer sun. Among other things, the health department says Lineage must get rid of all the food, stop the flies and rodents from breeding and spreading into the neighborhood, and if the problems get worse, the fines will get even bigger. Many Boyle Heights residents say they don't want Lineage Logistics to rebuild its warehouse. The company filed for a rebuilding permit, even as crews continue removing millions of pounds of rotting food, and neighbors are dealing with the foul odors. Residents and local leaders say Lineage should focus on cleaning up the neighborhood before talking about rebuilding. This community activist tells KTLA they want Lineage to take accountability.
Actually take a look at all the impact, all of the harm that they've done to this community and leave.
A petition circulating in the neighborhood is urging Lineage to close its doors permanently. The news is brought to you by Pacific Coast Termite. A hazardous material scare at a Huntington Beach business ended safely after firefighters stabilized a chemical reaction inside a 55-gallon drum. Fire officials say an employee accidentally mixed chemicals into a drum that already contained other substances, causing it to heat up. LA County Department of Health officials are reporting a typhus outbreak in the Pico Union neighborhood. They say 5 people in the neighborhood have been hospitalized so far this year, but have since recovered. The disease, which is transferred by fleas, is continuing to increase, with 220 flea-borne typhus cases reported in LA County last year. Restrooms at Disneyland had to close to guests due to a water pressure drop in Anaheim.
Officials say 4 of the city's 14 wells that supply water to about 75% of the city were having issues drawing water. That resulted in a water pressure drop. A guest at Disneyland says she got turned away from several restrooms because they weren't operating. Restaurants also had to shut down for up to an hour. Along with Disneyland, Anaheim Stadium, where an Angels game was just getting underway, the Anaheim Convention Center, City Hall, and some homes and businesses were affected. The city says it took about 2 hours for the water pressure to gradually get back to normal. Amy King, KFI News.
Lawmakers in Sacramento are debating a bill that could change how repeat shoplifters are punished in California.
Assembly Bill 2108 would let some people accused of theft avoid jail time if they finish a rehabilitation program. Supporters say it's meant to help first-time or low-level offenders get back on track, but law enforcement and business groups say the bill would weaken Proposition 36, which voters passed in 2024, to bring tougher penalties for those with multiple offenses. They worry the new bill could make it harder to convict repeat offenders. The bill passed the Assembly and now heads to the Senate. Mark Reiner, KFI News.
A political analyst says a fling Governor Newsom had with an aide more than 20 years ago may be a problem if he runs for president.
Political strategist Amanda Blackwood says the power dynamic in politics is a real thing.
A bizarre place, particularly for young women to work.
She says if Newsom runs for president, this may stick with him.
Does the Midwest care about something like this? Might care a little more than you think that they do.
She says either way, Newsom needs to tread carefully.
When you throw your dirty laundry out and try to explain it yourself, that better have been it.
Newsom is expected to launch an official campaign for president after he's termed out in January. Jason Campidonia, KFI News.
Dr. Fauci invoked the Fifth Amendment during testimony before the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee. ABC's Peter Haralambu says Fauci cited what he described as Senator Rand Paul's obsession with calling for his prosecution, saying that he believed subpoenaed to testify so he could potentially be prosecuted for perjury.
While President Biden preemptively pardoned Fauci on his last day in office, that clemency wouldn't protect Fauci if he was accused of lying to Congress. He's denied wrongdoing.
Fauci claims he is being vindictively targeted for his role in the pandemic response. And the Federal Reserve is leaving interest rates unchanged. The decision came in a 9-3 vote, with Fed Chair Kevin Warsh calling it a good family fight. Warsh says while market interest rates have been rising, other economic indicators show the economy remains resilient, making it appropriate to hold rates steady for now.
Some of the increases in market interest rates between FOMC meetings are among the most significant in the last 2 decades.
There is speculation that the Fed could raise rates during its September meeting if trends continue. We're going to go to the 210 next.
All right, let me tell you this. When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. You get a handshake, he gets a commission, and you're done. And you may not hear from them again until it's time for renewal. Your business, though, runs all year, and so do the gaps in your insurance and the risk you're taking. Super Sure is the answer. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, CFO, or HR manager, the whole thing's too complicated just to buy a policy online. Super Sure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, and all with year-round support for you and your team. At supersure.com, you can access tools like fine print facts, and that translates your current policy into plain English so you can see what's covered and what's not. Plus, a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth and you know exactly what needs protecting. Supersure.com is one super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Supersure.com, supersure.com.
Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
Southline weather from KFI. Low clouds and fog again in the morning, then sunny. Highs 80s to mid-90s. Metro LA, 90s to the triple digits in the valleys, the high desert, and the IE. Windy again in the high desert and the IE. Mid to upper 70s for the beaches. Low to mid-80s for inland OC. Right now, 82 in Tustin, 71 Laguna Beach, 89 in Chatsworth. It's 88 in Van Nuys. The KFI financial update brought to you by Supersure. Supersure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform. All your business insurance in one place. The Dow closed down more than 1,100 points. S&P 500 down 113 and NASDAQ down 434. Slow on the 210 in Pasadena.
Eastbound delays on the 210 load up at Lincoln, and they take you all the way towards Citrus. You're on the brakes and stretches that whole way. Now, something I just found within those delays on the 210 eastbound before Mountain, there's a crash and everyone's out of lanes, but that's what's really pushing you back away from Lincoln at this point. We're also looking at the westbound side of the 210 in Pasadena, slowing from Sierra Madre, heading back towards the 134 freeway. Delays in Santa Clarita, 14 northbound, leaving the 5, looking better by Placerita Canyon Road. And it's tough in Porter Ranch on that eastbound side of the 118. Delays from about Porter Ranch Drive and looking a lot better by the time you pass Reseda Boulevard. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
Visit LearCapital.com for your free gold investment kit. That's LearCapital.com. Would you take 15 seconds to save 15% to freshen your breath? Go to Zelmans.com and use the code SAVE. That's ZELMINS.com. Use the code SAVE for fresh, clean breath for hours.
Lose the weight. Feel incredible. Just call 1-800-WEST Medical.
After a major accident, one question comes to mind. What happens next? That's where Wilshire Law Firm comes in. With over 100 attorneys, we've helped recover more than $2 billion for our clients. Let the firm that's been recognized as #1 in personal injury settlements fight for the compensation you deserve. That's what happens next. For a free consultation 24/7, call Wilshire Law Firm, 1-800-ABCDEFG. Wilshire Law Firm won more top 100 personal injury settlements in 2024 than any other law firm in California, as reported by TopVerdict.com. Wilshire Law Firm is in LA.
KFI AM 640.
An iHeartRadio station. Guaranteed human.
KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk radio. John Kobylt Show. It's good to have you here. We're on from 3 to 6, and after 6 o'clock, it's the podcast, John Kobylt Show on Demand. And if you missed the first hour, we spent a lot on Fauci's non-testimony today before Senator Rand Paul's committee. 111 times he invoked the Fifth Amendment, even though he'd already gotten a pardon from Joe Biden, a preemptive pardon. It's very curious, which is what we're going to talk about with Royal Oaks here from ABC News. Oh, and we're live on YouTube now, so you can watch this on your video screen. We're also live on X. And Royal Oaks, ABC News, how are you?
Hey, good, John. Before we talk Fauci, before the news, you talked about how students are cheating in college or handing in their essays that were written by AI. It got me to thinking, what's to stop teachers from just copying and pasting exams into AI and saying, hey, what grade should I give each of these kids and why? I mean, isn't that going to just take all of the duties away from teachers if they want to cheat?
Yeah, then we wouldn't need teachers and we wouldn't need students.
That's true.
Everybody can just stay home and play with their AI, play with their imaginary friend, their AI bot.
That's right.
Whatever.
So on Fauci, it wasn't exactly the love boat in D.C. this morning. I mean, Fauci comes out and he says, you know what? I know you, Senator Rand Paul. You're obsessed with me. You want to put me in prison. So guess what? I'm not going to answer any of your questions. But as you pointed out, he got a get out of jail free card. Fauci got a full pardon from Joe Biden when he was going out the door. And so he can't be prosecuted. So why would you have a problem with the Fifth Amendment? You wouldn't worry about prosecution. I think the answer is Fauci's position as well. That was then, if I allegedly lie to you today, Senator Paul, you're going to put me in prison for perjury. So I think that was the reason that he said, I'm clamming up. I'm not answering any of your questions.
So to answer it truthfully would be to expose himself, would be to indict himself, at least before the public, if not legally.
Well, that's right, especially since, you got 1,100 pages of his diaries that were disclosed. RFK Jr., apparently, at Health and Human Services, he spent 8 months searching 11 government servers, and he found this over 1,000 pages of Fauci's diaries. Now, diary, you think of some 13-year-old girl with a pink book with a lock on it. It's hidden under her mattress. No, he actually used the government servers. So in that sense, it's fair game to get the information. And so what Rand Paul wanted to do was say, hey, you said X in your diary, but you said Y publicly. Can you explain yourself? What about this gain of function research? Were they cooking it up in the Wuhan lab, trying to weaponize COVID? All sorts of questions he wanted to pose. But as to each of the questions, Dr. Fauci said, sorry, on advice of counsel, I'm not going to be answering your questions.
Let me ask you this, and this may be a technical legal question. The Fifth Amendment was designed so you don't have to testify against yourself during an investigation or during a trial, correct?
Right.
This hearing wasn't that. You're allowed to invoke the Fifth Amendment when you're just testifying before Congress because there's no criminal penalty at stake here. There's no threat of incarceration.
Well, there is in the sense that you take an oath to tell the truth, and therefore you're subject to perjury penalties. In California, it's 5 years behind bars if you're found guilty of perjury. So in that sense, theoretically, you always have a right to take the Fifth if you've taken an oath to tell the truth. So in that sense, he certainly has the right to do that. But it's so frustrating because, one of the purposes Rand Paul had was to get to the bottom of, why were you so aggressive in just shutting down the nation? Countless kids lost countless days of school. Let's get into it and find out if we ever have something like this happen again, shall we look back and learn some lessons? Now, next week, Rand Paul is going to want his committee, by majority vote to find Fauci in congressional contempt. If that happens and the full Senate says, we urge congressional contempt, then that's a criminal referral to the U.S. Attorney's Office in D.C. If they seek an indictment, Fauci could wind up behind bars for a year if he is convicted of congressional contempt.
For not talking, he could end up in...
Exactly right.
Now, so if he did talk, let's say he let it all hang out. I know that's never going to happen. But he lets it all hang out. If Joe Biden already gave him a pardon, what's the practical cost to him? I mean, his reputation, obviously, right? And maybe that's what he's protecting here, although I think that's shot. But there's going to be no cost in terms of being imprisoned or getting fined.
Well, the remote risk is this. His lawyer's whispering in Fauci's ear, and he's saying, look, this get-out-of-jail-free card you got from Joe Biden, it related to everything you did as, the czar of COVID while you were a governmental employee during the pandemic. But the pardon is only effective through the date it was issued a couple of years ago by Joe Biden. Therefore, if today in 2026, separately, Fauci takes an oath, says, I'm going to tell the truth to you, Senator Rand Paul, in the Senate committee. And if he lies, if it's established he committed perjury, intentionally lied, that's not protected by the pardon. And so theoretically, he could be in deep trouble.
Is the pardon legal because it was an auto pen pardon? I've read so many articles on this. You have an opinion on this? I'm confused.
Absolutely. And of course, Donald Trump has made a big deal out of this because, they've done handwriting analysis and so on. And it looks very much like a lot of the orders signed by Joe Biden were not by his hand, but by the auto pen. Now, some people say, well, that's okay because as long as the president knew what was doing and he authorized, my hand gets tired, let's use this automatic pen machine to sign, then it's okay. But if you could develop evidence to suggest that the president didn't really authorize it, didn't really know what was going on, not that anybody would say like anything like that about Joe Biden, then yes, you could try to void it. It would be an uphill battle, but you could definitely have a fight and say, all of this stuff that Joe Biden did, it's void, and we got to have a big do-over because, if he didn't really know what was going on, the fact that his aide said, hey, let's fire up the auto pen machine, that's not anything that we should be subjected to.
Just seems like Fauci, as a public servant, has a duty to explain to America why he did what he did all these years, since it had one of the largest impact on our lives probably that anything has had since World War II.
Oh, absolutely. One of the big questions Senator Paul wanted to ask was, look, the National Institutes of Health funded this gain of function research. It kind of helped the Chinese who were looking into the COVID virus in the Wuhan lab. And a lot of people are wondering, well, okay, it's one thing to just know more about the virus, but what if what they were really doing is trying to weaponize it, get some sort of a military advantage using COVID? We don't know for sure if that happened or not, but we want to know why the National Institutes of Health were funding this kind of stuff. And what did Fauci know about the research? And did his public statements about what he knew, which is kind of exonerated China, is that different from what you see in the 1,100 pages of his diary that RFK Jr. spilled? And did he try to wrongly influence the scientific debate over COVID's origins? And what was he doing? Getting on he was so excited about being on the cover of the Washington Post and talking on the phone with Barbara Streisand. All of this stuff was what Rand Paul was very eager to quiz him about, but it didn't happen. Now, a year or so ago, you remember Bill and Hillary Clinton were threatened with congressional contempt because they wouldn't talk. And then in the next week or so, Congress sat down with their lawyers and they worked it out and they had some guardrails. So that's probably what will happen in the next week. Or maybe Fauci feels lucky and he says, bring it on. I'm not going to be found guilty of contempt. Try to prove your case.
All right. Thank you very much, Royal Oaks, ABC News legal analyst.
You bet. Thank you.
All right. And we'll have more Deborah Mark live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Here is the latest. Southern California heading into another heat wave this weekend. And the Trump administration says power for data centers does not have to follow pollution laws. We'll have more at the bottom of the hour from your Toyota Dealers Traffic Center. We make it easy. Crash on the 101 in Studio City.
It's along the northbound side, and it's coming right up at Laurel Canyon Boulevard. 2 cars got into it, but they are off to the right shoulder. That's a really narrow shoulder at that spot. I'm looking at overall slowing for the 101 northbound, and that is served up out of Hollywood, getting away from Santa Monica Boulevard all the way to the scene of this crash. Beyond the wreck, you've got a slight opening with more slowing ahead in Sherman Oaks from Van Nuys Boulevard all the way to White Oak in Encino. The southbound side of the 101, that's loading up out of Agora Hills from Liberty Canyon Road, and delays continue all the way back to the 170-134 split, slowing in Hollywood from just about Santa Monica Boulevard all the way back into downtown Los Angeles. Very tough right now along the 605 getting out of Whittier. Southbound slowings pushing back away from Peck Road. Delays continue ahead towards the 5. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
When you're hurt in an accident, results matter, and so do you. Call Sweet James. The attorneys at Sweet James have spent 25 years delivering results for injured accident victims that send insurance companies a message. If you're hurt in an accident, call for a free case review. 1-800-9-MILLION. 1-800-9-MILLION. Outcome not guaranteed. Offices in Los Angeles. SweetJames.com.
Just call Sweet James at 1-800-9-MILLION. Just call Sweet James, your accident attorneys.
It's your home equity. Shouldn't you be able to access it? Well, the bank said otherwise. When HELOC said no, Splatero said go. There's only a 500 minimum credit score and no income requirement. And you keep your existing mortgage rate. Visit Splatero.com today.
This is Sarah Spain with the latest from iHeart Women's Sports.
Presented by iHeartAdvertising.com.
The Indiana Fever bested the Seattle Storm 105-95 Tuesday night behind 32 points from Caitlin Clark and 28 from Kelsey Mitchell. Mitchell has scored at least 20 points in a franchise record 12 straight games, tied for the third longest streak in league history. Fever forward Aaliyah Boston left the game in the second quarter with a lower leg injury. She didn't return. For more women's sports stories, subscribe to Good Game with Sarah Spain on iHeart Podcast.
Run a business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because people are listening to radio more today than they did 20 years ago. And only iHeartRadio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Pro Rewards members save more during Lowe's Pro Savings Days. Save up to 20% on in-stock molding when you spend $250 and up to 20% on in-stock pre-hung interior doors when you buy 6 or more. Valid through 7/31 while supplies last. Selection varies. See Lowe's.com for details.
Dealing with auto insurance on your own can be very complicated and expensive, but AAA makes it easy. You switch today, you can save up to 21%. With AAA, you get coverage that you can trust, plus AAA is by your side whenever you need support. And if it's flexibility you need, AAA offers customizable coverage options to fit your budget. But the savings don't stop there. Bundle 2 or more policies or insure multiple vehicles to unlock even more savings. Ready to make the switch? Visit AAA.com, AAA.com, and see how much you can save today.
Have questions about plastic surgery? Get trusted answers from Dr. Raban at plasticsurgeryuncensored.com.
In this edition of the Marketer's Report, Monica Tam, head of brand media for DoorDash, discusses the power of audio influencers.
I think when you're tapping into voices like hosts and podcasters, you're being able to be part of that community, but in a very authentic way.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia connects marketers to the audiences, live conversations, and trusted influencers you need to grow. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartAdvertising.com.
Some people just know there's a better way to do things, like bundling your home and auto insurance with Allstate. Why make things harder than they need to be? There's a better way to save time and money. Visit allstate.com or call for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Want up to $25,000 in free silver? When you make a qualifying purchase through Golden Crest Metals, you can receive up to $25,000 in real silver added to your account. Call 888-447-7857 now for your free information kit. That's 888-447-7857. Again, call 888-447-7857. Not a financial advisor. Precious metals involve risk. Free silver offers a 10% bonus in silver on qualifying purchases of premium minted coins. $10,000 minimum purchase required. Bonus silver capped to $25,000 and credited to customer account. See goldencrestmetals.com for full terms.
If you run a business, you know the value of trust. It's what keeps your customers coming back. And it's what you get when you advertise with iHeart. More than 75% of listeners consider iHeart hosts their friends and trust their recommendations. Now take that trusted influence and combine it with iHeart's massive reach and scale, and you've got the formula for growing your business. Learn how easy it is to tell your story through our voices today at iHeartAdvertising.com. That's iHeartAdvertising.com.
A lot of apps like to say they're free until they ask for your credit card. iHeartRadio is different. No required subscriptions, no trial periods, no surprise charges. We make money from our advertisers, not from you. It's the same radio you've never paid for. Live radio stations, playlists, podcasts, and artist stations, all in one app. So if you haven't already, download the free iHeartRadio app. Free radio. Always has been, always will be. Now wherever you go.
iHeartRadio.
KFI AM 640.
More stimulating talk.
You already heard about California not having enough water for everybody and the farmer.
The president has now picked a side in the West's water wars.
Is it possible that Newsom and Trump are on the same page?
How much the president says we should have tomorrow, Monks and Merrill, starting at noon on KFI.
$1,000 giveaway now.
Now is your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Fun. That's F-U-N. Enter it now at KFIAM640.com/cash.
KFI. Fun. Enter that at KFIAM640.com/cash. If you win, you get an email. Check your junk and spam folder and listen for the winning keyword every hour, every weekday. Starts at 9 in the morning all the way to 5 in the afternoon. Next chance to win here is at 5:20 at KFI. Coming up after 4:30. I just discovered this story. There's a new news site called lamaterial.com, lamaterial.com, and they cover Los Angeles. And they have a story about this new company called Ghost Town. Anybody hear of this? It's a private company that clears out homeless encampments when the police and the idiots in the homeless industry aren't capable of doing that. And it's allegedly run by former gang members. These gangsters, it's called Ghost Town Consultants. When you call the police and they don't do anything, or all those idiot social service employees show up, sometimes repeatedly, with no success, you call Ghost Town Consultants, and somehow they encourage these vagrants and drug addicts and mental patients to move along.
How do they encourage that?
I'm sure they're very charming.
Oh, sure. Apple pie and all.
I just got the story. I'm not finished with it yet. I'm about halfway through, but by the time we come back into the next segment, I'll have digested the whole thing. And it looks like they have 200 clients already, including some real businesses like Whole Foods. And what they do, how they do it, I'm going to read the second half of the story, but maybe you don't want to know.
You have to read it like a gangster.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta. The thing is, I don't care anymore. Some people are saying it's vigilantism. It's like, good. I think we need vigilantism. We've given the city enough time, and everything is a disaster. So if Karen Bass and the city council are not interested in governing the city properly, maybe we do all have to decide what's what, and maybe we got to hire some of the former bad guys to enforce the law. Because if the police won't enforce the law, and Bass's government and the city council won't enforce the law, we still don't have to live like this. I mean, I see revolts going on all over the world, right? There's all kinds of groups pushing back on an oppressive government. Because oppression is not just what Gavin Newsom did in taking away our rights to live normally, like he did during the lockdown. But oppression is also when you don't enforce the law and allow either the bad guys or the crazy people to create the environment that we have to live under. There's absolutely no reason that if you got a job and you're paying your taxes, you in the city of Los Angeles, that we have to live in fear of these crazy people and see all their insane behavior and deal with all their crimes and all their drugs and the feces and the needles and all that. We should never have put up with this for a day. And then it's gone on for over 10 years. I'm happy to hire a whole army of gang members and just go to town on the homeless encampments. Do what you have to do. I'm going to go hide under my bed. You tell me when it's over. Really, aren't you there? You know what? You don't tell me. I don't want to have. I want plausible deniability. I'll give you some cash. Take care of what you have to take care of. Because who else am I going to go to here? Everybody else has failed us. Everybody has failed us. And I think when a government has failed the people, as long as they have, I think the people have a right to hire kind of an outside consultants.
How much cash we talking?
I'd be curious. I'm going to see if I can find out how much these people are making. But they have placards all over, for example, Venice, to let the vagrants know and other bad guys. It's like, hey, Ghost Town's in charge here. Oh, I'll tell you more about it coming up in just a few minutes. Deborah Mark, live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Southern California is heading into a dangerous weekend heat wave after a brief break The National Weather Service says temps will climb, with many inland areas reaching the upper 90s to more than 100 degrees by Friday and Saturday. Heat warnings and advisories will be in effect across much of the region, and officials are urging people to stay hydrated and, you know the rest, limit time outdoors, so on and so forth. The news is brought to you by Seller's Advantage. Another sign of record demand for LA 2028 Olympics tickets. The Los Angeles Organizing Committee said today the number of people registering for tickets went up by 5 million since February to 12 million signups. They say that makes the games the most in demand in Olympics history. People hoping to get Olympics tickets in the upcoming second drop will get an email August 6th or 7th telling them if they got a time slot to buy. Even as gas prices rise, electric vehicle sales have dropped compared to last year.
Instead, more people are choosing gas-powered hybrid cars. Hybrids use a gas engine to charge a battery that powers an electric motor at low speeds. This means better gas mileage, which is appealing at the moment as gas prices near $6 per gallon. According to the California New Car Dealers Association, hybrid car sales have surpassed electric vehicles for the first time since 2020, with EV sales down 25% since early last year. Hybrids now have a record share of California's car market. Dina Kodiak, KFI News.
The Trump administration says power for data centers does not have to follow pollution laws.
The Environmental Protection Agency says power plants that primarily serve data centers will not have to be part of the Clean Air Act's acid rain program. It says its interpretation of the program would speed up infrastructure for artificial intelligence. Research says data centers will make up 20% of the nation's energy usage within roughly the next 8 years. Despite growing public anger over data centers, President Trump told governors and local officials at an EPA event last week they should give up fighting data centers and just go with it. Michael Crozier, KFI News.
And the U.S. Army is awarding Lockheed Martin a contract worth up to $58.6 billion to dramatically increase production of Patriot interceptor missiles. The 7-year agreement comes as conflicts in Iran and Ukraine are putting more pressure on U.S. weapons stockpiles. Lockheed Martin says the deal will allow it to triple missile production by 2030 while expanding jobs at its manufacturing plant in Arkansas. Going to the 57 next.
Lasting Smiles. They're dental implants. You need them. If people look away when they see you, if they cover their eyes when you smile, you got missing, damaged, rotted, decayed teeth, get dental implants from Lasting Smiles. They got the Summer Smile Special, which is a free comprehensive dental exam, full 3D imaging, custom treatment plan, payments as low as $149 a month on approved credit. You can do that. You must call. You mention KFI or mention John and get the Summer Smile Special from lastingsmiles.com. Call 844-GO-SMILE, 844-GO-SMILE, 844-GO-SMILE.
Southland weather from KFI. Low clouds and fog again in the morning, then sunny. Highs 80s to mid-90s. Metro LA, 90s to the triple digits in the valleys, the high desert, and the IE. It's going to be windy again in the high desert and the IE. Mid to upper 70s at the beaches. Low to mid-80s inland OC. Right now, 78 in San Juan Capistrano, 80 in Stanton. Crash on the 57 in Diamond Bar.
This one's reported on the northbound side, right at Diamond Bar Boulevard. Kind of low on details other than a couple of cars. It looks like they should be out of lanes, but in the center divider. So let's look at that northbound side of the 57 because it's slow moving all the way out of Brea from almost Imperial Highway. Beyond the crash, that northbound 57 remains slow all the way through the 60. I'm seeing delays on the southbound side of the 57 as well, backing up from just about Temple Avenue as you make your way towards the 60. And the 60 eastbound slowing in stretches, getting away from 7th Avenue as you roll towards the 57. Let's look at the westbound side of the 91 in Anaheim Hills. Delays from Weir Canyon, and you're on the brakes ahead all the way to the 55 freeway. Eastbound delays from the 57 all the way back towards Green River. Tough in the Cajon Pass, 15 northbound, loading up at the 215 merge, remaining heavy and slow all the way to the 138. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
With Norwegian Cruise Line, you don't have to choose. Whale watching in Cabo San Lucas and French cuisine at Le Bistro. Ziplining through the jungle and relaxing at Mandara Spa and Salon. beaches of Puerto Vallarta, and water slides that bring out your inner 12-year-old. See, you don't have to choose just one kind of vacation, but you do have to choose Norwegian. Book your 7-day Mexican Riviera cruise sailing from LA or San Diego. Visit ncl.com, call your travel advisor, or 1-888-NCL-CRUISE. Norwegian Cruise Line. It's different out here.
Hey, it's Conway here for Cars for Kids. We've donated 2 vehicles to Cars for Kids, and man, was it easy. Cars for Kids has been around for 30 years, and they know what they're doing. I recently saw firsthand one of their summer programs going on right now where they have over 1,400 kids. I saw hundreds of kids in the camp, and they couldn't thank Cars for Kids enough for making this incredible opportunity possible. So when you donate a car, you're helping real kids thrive this summer. CarsForKids.org. 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. KARS Cars for Kids. That's Cars with a K.
Tap into happy hour with half-priced pizzas and select apps every weekday at Yard House. Find yours at yardhouse.com.
I'm not great with words after a fight, and I'm sorry wasn't cutting it this time. So I used Smile Tunes to write a soulful ballad about how she's always right. By the second chorus, the silent treatment was officially over. Visit smiletunes.com and get out of the doghouse today.
Here's the deal. The government is over $38 trillion in debt, which means the IRS isn't slowing down. And the tax code is complex and unforgiving. So it's not surprising if you're one of the millions of Americans that owe back taxes to the IRS. Unfortunately, they're the world's most powerful collection agency with the ability to garnish your wages, seize your bank accounts, and even take your home or business. But don't be stressed or worried any longer. We're Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm. We have resolved over $3 billion in tax debt for our clients. Our award-winning professionals deal with the IRS every single day, protecting our clients and preparing them for the best possible resolution. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, give Optima a call today.
Call 800-764-6022. 800-764-6022. 800-764-6022.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Therapy Thursday with Ellen K is a new iHeart podcast where secrets come out, emotions run high, and no topic is off limits. Listen now on the iHeart Radio app and wherever you get your podcasts.
Love your legs again. Feel incredible. Just call 1-800-WEST Medical.
This July, celebrate your independence with $1,776 on new windows at American Vision Windows.
Toyota's We Make It Easy sales event is here to keep your summer moving. Get great deals on Toyotas built for any summer adventure. Like the all-hybrid Camry with efficiency and style that never cools down. Tacoma with the power to take your summer to new heights. Or RAV4 Hybrid with the versatility and range for all your plans. Don't miss great deals on Toyota's most popular models. We make it easy. Toyota, let's go places.
What can you do at Toyota.com? Better question, what can't you do? Because at Toyota.com, you can check out our latest models, search our inventory, and see our latest offers. You can even build and price your new Toyota right online, picking the exact model and color that's right for you. Whether you just want to download a brochure or you're ready to buy, all things Toyota are at Toyota.com. We make it easy. Toyota, let's go places.
Listen up, CalFresh customers. The LA County Department of Public Social Services wants to help you stay eligible and informed. As of June 1st, new work requirements apply to some CalFresh customers ages 18 to 64. You may meet them by working 20 hours a week, joining an approved job training program, completing volunteer hours, or participating in workfare or CalFresh employment training. Some customers may qualify for an exemption. Contact your eligibility worker to learn more. Visit dpss.lacounty.gov.
KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk.
KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeart Radio app. John Kobylt Show. We're on every day from 3 to 6. We're right in the middle of things now. After 6 o'clock, the podcast, John Kobylt Show on demand, same as the radio show, for whatever you missed. And we did a lot on Fauci invoking the Fifth Amendment 111 times before Rand Paul's Senate committee today. That was in the first hour. And then a little while ago, we talked with Royal Oaks from ABC News about it. So you can hear that on the podcast tonight. We're live on X, live on YouTube right now. So we have our video transmission operating. And now I will tell you the story of Ghost Town. I just discovered this story a few minutes ago, and it is in the new website, lamaterial.com. lamaterial.com. This is a good news site. And we had one of the reporters on just a few days ago. Ghost Town is a local security company that is made up of retired gang members, original gangsters, OGs. And they have been informally hired by hundreds of people in Venice because the police don't show up and do their job, and Karen Bass's bureaucracy doesn't show up and do their job. And there are so many unpleasant, crazy people, mental patients and drug addicts that make life hell in Venice that a lot of the locals are saying, well, the heck with this. We'll get the gangsters, and whatever they do, they do. And apparently these gangsters, they're no longer with a gang, supposedly. They're out of prison. But this is their new job. And somehow they end up persuading these vagrants to get out. Now, there's no specific destination. This is not placing them in supportive housing. This is get out, which is what I think ultimately is the only way you can handle all this. Because they're never going to build housing, and most of these people don't want to go. So just get out. In fact, if I had a company, that's what I'd call it.
Where are they going to go?
As long as they're not in my neighborhood, not in my section of town.
So they might go from neighborhood to neighborhood, and these people will follow them.
Yes.
Keep telling them to get out.
That's right. Go a little farther and a little farther, and then eventually you reach the desert. I'll give you an example. And this stuff to me is intolerable. It makes me crazy. Anna Petrova is one of the Venice residents. She's 84 years old. And her husband has cancer. And Anna is his caregiver. But there's so much noise and drug use and tent fires at a big encampment in front of their house that he can't go to his cancer treatments because they're scared. They're scared to come out of their house. Now, that is intolerable. And she was connected. She was on the LAPD Citizen Advisory Board for 20 years. So she would text her local senior lead officer, and she would call the division captains. She knew these guys, right? Did they come and take care of her? No. All the cops kept saying was, their hands are tied. That is almost like a religious invocation from police officers in Los Angeles. Their hands are tied, which means Karen Bass won't let us enforce the law. And that, more than anything, should require her removal from the city. She ought to be chased into the desert. That's why she deserves 0 votes. 0 votes. You imagine you have a mayor who tells the entire police department, hey, hey, your hands are tied. You can't do this. And it doesn't matter if you have an 84-year-old woman and her husband's got cancer and they can't go to the cancer treatments. How sick is that? How sick is Karen Bass? So she hired Ghost Town consultants. She'd heard that they help resolve homeless issues. And the writer of this piece, Hayes Davenport, said, walk around Venice, it can feel like Ghost Town consultants are everywhere. If you look at concrete walls outside expensive homes, you look at the perimeter fences on shopping centers, even the palm trees are plastered with placards that say, protected by Ghost Town signs. The company logo is a midnight blue image on a white shield, which looks a little bit like a skyline or maybe a skull, which is true. I'm looking at the logo. It's hard to describe. But when you look at it, you could think skyline or you could think skull. For the most part, clients hire Ghost Town when the homelessness crisis shows up at their front door. If you have an encampment where somebody parks an RV on your block, Ghost Town will get them to move. None of this my hands are tied nonsense that you get from Jim McDonald's police department. If people are lingering around your storefront or shopping center, you as a store can hire Ghost Town. They'll get them to move. If somebody graffitis your house or stole something, Ghost Town can figure out who did it and get them to move. I'm sold.
You don't know how much they charge?
I don't think I saw a price on this, but they have 200 clients. They're all OGs, former members of Venice gangs. And the Venice gangs were notorious years ago, but now they are reformed. They went to prison. They came out of prison. And they don't have security certification from the state. You're supposed to get a license. But the residents feel much safer with Ghost Town than any of the traditional security services, because the security service have their hands tied too. I think this is the way to go. Now, the homeless apparently don't give Ghost Town as glowing a review.
Oh, no?
No. They say that the Ghost Town workers unfairly harass and intimidate them. Oh, isn't that too bad? That's terrible. That's not right. They get pushed around the neighborhood, but don't do anything to access services and move indoors. Stop it. We've got billions of dollars of services. If you wanted to, you'd be indoors. You're full of it. And some have alleged that the Ghost Town employees have used physical force.
Well, that's not nice.
No, that's not nice, but...
and they may end up back in jail. I mean, I don't know why they would do something like that.
At this point, you got to do what you got to do. That's my philosophy.
But didn't you say these people used to be in jail or prison?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they have to be careful. They don't want to go back.
No, they don't want to go back. Well, you do it without witnesses. Besides, they don't prosecute things anymore. They went to jail back when crimes were prosecuted.
Gotcha.
Remember?
Yeah.
Now their hands are tied. And if you go the traditional route, there's somebody living in a tent on the street. They could be there for months, and they might get an outreach visit from homeless services, a government employee, or one of those crooked nonprofits. But often nobody ever comes. It says here that neighbors watch from their homes as police, fire, sanitation, and case management workers visit an encampment dozens of times. Each visit ends with the encampment still intact. You get Ghost Town, and they're gone, which is all you want, that they're gone. We'll do more when we come back. Deborah Mark, this is Ghost Town, this private company that gets rid of homeless people in your neighborhood. Deborah Mark is live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Here is the latest. Many Boyle Heights residents want Lineage Logistics to get out of town. West Hollywood's now ordering the owner of an abandoned construction site to get rid of the coyotes that are making themselves at home. We'll have more at the top of the hour. We're going to go to the 405 next.
All right, you're at home or you're at work and your phone buzzes. It's your kid's number. Pick it up and it's your kid's voice. And he's in a panic saying he's been in an accident and needs money wired right now. And instinctively, you just do whatever you're told to do. And that is what a scammer is counting on. It's not your son. He's not in an accident. Criminals buy your information from data brokers. They grab your kid's voice off a video and then clone it with AI, make the call to you, and you end up sending money to the scammer. You can't stop them from cloning a voice, but you can make sure they never get your phone number in the first place, and that's done with Incogni's help. Incogni, I-N-C-O-G-N-I, contacts hundreds of data brokers and forces them to delete your personal information and then keep it gone. I have Incogni, and they have done it 441 times, and I am getting almost zero in terms of spam calls and texts and emails. Go to incogni.com/KFI. Use the promo code KFI, save 60%. That's incogni.com/KFI. Use the promo code KFI.
Southline weather from KFI. Sunny and hot tomorrow, 70s to the triple digits. This report brought to you by Staples. From your Toyota dealers traffic center, we make it easy. Crash on the 405 in Fountain Valley.
This one along the northbound side coming up at Euclid. That's where the 2 middle lanes have been blocked. Delays, or they're backing up overall out of Irvine. Well, make that the initial delays are, out of Irvine, all the way from Irvine Center Drive. Now, beyond the crash, the drive opens up. You've got some crowded conditions ahead from Beach Boulevard as you continue all the way towards the 710 freeway. The southbound side of the 405, that slows in Irvine, leaving the 55 freeway as you roll back towards the 133. Very tough out of Burbank on the southbound side of the 5. Delays from Alameda, slow moving all the way through the 605. And East 91 in Anaheim, that slows from the 57 all the way to Green River. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
All right, it's officially the most wonderful time of the year at Staples. They've got back-to-school supplies as low as 25 cents, up to 40% off select tech, 20% off for teachers, and more. Check out all the deals at staples.com/back-to-school. Staples, that was easy.
This report is sponsored by Wild Rivers in Irvine. Beat the heat without breaking the bank at Wild Rivers Water Park in Irvine. Summer's hottest days mean the coolest savings at wildrivers.com. With 25 attractions to thrill and chill, Wild Rivers delivers sun and fun for everyone. Visit wildrivers.com for more information.
Decades of saving. Now you're just supposed to hope the market holds up? There's a reason smart retirement investors are moving part of their IRA and 401k into physical gold and silver right now. Gold has hit record highs. The dollar is weakening, and unlike stocks, you can hold real gold in your hand. Golden Crest Metals makes it simple. A nationally recognized firm seen on Fox Business and CNBC with an A- BBB rating and 5-star reviews. Golden Crest can help you add physical gold and silver to your retirement account, tax and penalty free. And right now, receive up to $25,000 in free silver with a qualifying purchase. Call 888-447-7857 now to speak with a gold specialist and request your free precious metals guide. That's 888-447-7857. Again, 888-447-7857. That's 888-447-7857. Golden Crest Metals is not a financial advisor. Precious metals involve risk and are not suitable for all investors. Free silver offer consists of a 10% bonus and silver applied to qualifying purchases of premium minted coins. Minimum purchase $10,000 required. Bonus silver capped to $25,000 and credit is in addition to customer account. Free IRA storage subject to qualifying purchase tiers. See goldencrestmetals.com for full terms and conditions.
If you run a business and need to get your message to your next customers fast, nothing is faster than audio with iHeart. Let us help you grow your business at the speed of sound today at 844-844-iHeart.
When power goes out and cell networks fail, AM radio can be a lifeline with local news, weather, and emergency information. But time is running out. AM radio could disappear from new cars unless Congress acts. Please text the 2 letters AM to 39179 and tell Congress to vote yes on the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act. Text the letters AM to 39179. Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop. This message furnished by the station.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Wake Up Call with Amy King.
KFI Radio, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Amy King with KFI's Wake Up Call. How do you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
The Eagle has landed, and its name is Amy King.
Wake Up Call with Amy King. Live 5 to 6 a.m. on KFI. And on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app.
What if we told you Matt Damon was screaming on set to get his voice weather warned for The Odyssey? From the TikTok Podcast Network, Raiders of the Lost Podcast has the whole story about the biggest movies of the summer. Download the iHeartRadio app and search Raiders of the Lost Podcast now.
KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk.
On the next Bill Handel Show, Qantas Airways is starting a 22-hour nonstop flight, and experts are looking at this question. How do you spend 22 hours on an airplane without blowing your brains out? That's coming up tomorrow morning after 8 o'clock on the next Bill Handel Show.
KFI, John Kobylt Show, KFI. AM 640, more stimulating talk radio. Moist line is 877-MOIST-86, 877-MOIST-86 for Friday. And we're going to have Katie Grimes come on just after 5 o'clock from California Globe to talk about Steve Hilton and his press conference yesterday about, well, actually, no, we're talking to Gloria Romero. Excuse me. It's from Katie Grimes' story. Gloria Romero is running with Steve Hilton for lieutenant governor. She's part of his ticket. She's going to talk about Xavier Becerra's migrant child abuse camps. We talked about that yesterday. Gloria has more on it. All right. We're going through a fascinating story, lamaterial.com. lamaterial.com. It's a new news site. And they have a story on Ghost Town. Ghost Town is a private security company made up of former gang members who go through neighborhoods in Venice, and they encourage the homeless people to leave. And apparently they have a high success rate because Karen Bass is such a massive failure, and the city council and all the stupid agencies and Jim McDonald's police department, everyone has failed the people so badly that in Venice, they're hiring, really, these are vigilantes. And looks like the ex-gang members are doing the job. The locals were sick of watching all the police, fire, sanitation, and case management workers show up at an encampment dozens of times. And every time they walked away, the encampment's still there. Dozens of times. I say by the second time, everybody should be gone. So Ghost Town has filled the void, and they got famous in Venice because they got rid of a large encampment outside the Whole Foods on Lincoln Boulevard. I know that one. In early 2022, if you look at Google Street View photos, there's a single tent on the sidewalk outside the Whole Foods parking lot. By December of 2023, the footprint had grown much larger. Now there are 5 tents, makeshift shelters, baby carriages, bikes, shopping carts, and a dog. You know how this goes. So here's what Ghost Town did, because somebody who's involved with a blog called Santa Monica Close-Up followed a Ghost Town employee and took video. Now here's the setting. There was a city cleanup done in March of 2024. But in the video, a burly man in a black Ghost Town hoodie paces up and down the newly cleared sidewalk, watching the sanitation workers throw items into a garbage truck. And the guy in the hoodie starts talking to the vagrants whose stuff is being thrown away. And the guy in the hoodie from Ghost Town says, "You find a spot?" He asks a guy who's got a bicycle loaded up with possessions, with the dog in the basket. The man mumbles something, and the Ghost Town employee says, "Yeah, well, regardless of what he says, you can't come back here. It's not going to work out. This is my spot now." Then he starts talking to another woman. And the woman says, "Well, where's everybody supposed to go?" And the Ghost Town guy says, "I don't know." She says, he says, "We're not cleaning. We're talking to the people living here, and we got them out of here. We got them to go." Then he looks at a woman and says, "I see what you were smoking. That doesn't make you think straight. You probably could do a hell of a lot more if you just put that bleep down for a couple of days." And there were no tents in sight on the perimeter of Whole Foods as of a recent Wednesday. So they got rid of the encampment just by saying, "You're out of here." The magic of saying, "Get out of here." The magic of saying, "No, you can't live here. You got to go." Some of the homeless people think that the Ghost Town guys get pretty violent and hands-on. One guy says he was physically manhandled by a Ghost Town employee. Good. Move along. Go to a place where you won't get manhandled. The The people that live in the suburbs appreciate them, according to this guy, but most people in the homeless community, they think they have a community, have had some kind of negative interaction with Ghost Town. Well, that's just too bad. I have an idea. Why don't you go take a shower and get a job? Then you won't have any more negative interactions. Good Lord. It's a much longer article. They've got about 10 employees and a couple of hundred clients. And we're going to be doing more on this. This is the future here. We have no government, so this is the future. I don't know. Somebody's got to get all the gang members that are wandering around, and we got to make this work financially. Where people pay the money, and then the ghost town guys make the homeless guys disappear. And I really don't care how. I'm done with empathy and compassion. That is an all-time failed experiment, and you all know it's true. Empathy and compassion have failed as a strategy in this city and state. All right, we come back. We're going to talk Gloria Romero, running for lieutenant governor on Steve Hilton's ticket. And she's going to talk about Xavier Becerra and this disgusting migrant child abuse camp, a set of camps that he was running when he was in charge of Health and Human Services. Deborah Mark is live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
KFI and KOST HD2, Los Angeles, Orange County. More stimulating talk.
Fed up. I'm Deborah Mark, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. Many Boyle Heights residents say they want Lineage Logistics to pack up and leave after the cold storage company filed a permit to rebuild its fire-damaged warehouse. Neighbors and local leaders say Lineage should focus on cleaning up the millions of pounds of rotting food before trying to reopen. LA Mayor Bass is calling the permit request a slap in the face as residents continue to deal with the foul odors, the flies, and other health concerns. This resident told KTLA she has never seen or heard so many flies.
They sound like bees. They're horrendous. They're huge. And yet we're supposed to be living like that. You come out of your house and you literally have to run to your car if you're going to go to the market or something.
Lineage says the permit is part of the normal rebuilding process and will not interfere with cleanup, which it says remains its top priority. West Hollywood is now ordering the owner of an abandoned construction site to remove the coyotes that have been living on the property.
Construction on the 22-unit condominium building stopped in 2024. Since then, it's been vacant until recently when a pack of coyotes took up residence on the property. West Hollywood residents have been complaining about nightly howling and barking from their four-legged neighbors. The city says it's been in contact with a representative for property owner Clarence Tung. It's requiring him to hire a wildlife control operator to assess the site and humanely remove the coyotes. Daniel Martindale, KFI News.
Nick Reiner reportedly got hostile with deputies in jail where he's being held while awaiting trial after being accused of killing his parents.
Nick Reiner became, quote, extremely hostile with deputies inside the showers at LA County's Twin Towers Correctional Facility in downtown. That according to People magazine, which cites the sources saying Reiner was yelling and screaming and cursing, apparently frustrated that he was waiting too long to be escorted back to his cell post-shower. People says several backup deputies were called in. It never got physical, and Reiner lost privileges for a few days and was written up when it happened in April. He's accused of murdering his parents, director Rob Reiner and producer Michelle Reiner. Jason Nathanson, KFI News.
The Los Angeles Police Department has stopped putting many public records online.
UCLA professor Nicholas Shapiro tells the LA Times public records related to the LAPD started quietly disappearing from a city website next request in April 2025. That included everything from audio recordings of emergency dispatch calls to the emails and text messages of high-ranking police officials. The records were once regularly posted on the city's portal, some almost daily in response to public records requests. Shapiro said the LAPD's failing is a cornerstone of accountability for the city and has become more of a black hole of information. The department didn't comment. Mark Reiner, KFI News.
Cyclospora, the parasitic infection linked to severe diarrhea, is now spread to 45 states. The CDC says more than 6,700 cases have been confirmed, with more than 400 people in the hospital. No deaths reported. Dr. Fauci has been questioned by a Senate panel over his response to the COVID-19 pandemic. ABC's Jay O'Brien says committee chair Senator Rand Paul released pages of Fauci's notes, which he says show what Fauci wrote privately, and that was different from what he said publicly about the origins of the virus.
What Fauci was saying in his opening statement is he believes that Chairman Paul is bent on putting him, in Fauci's words, behind bars.
Fauci invoked his Fifth Amendment right and did not answer questions. Former President Biden also granted Fauci a preemptive pardon. The Federal Reserve is holding interest rates steady for a fifth straight meeting despite stubborn inflation and higher energy prices tied to the war with Iran. The decision came with three policymakers favoring a rate increase. Fed Chair Kevin Warsh called the debate a good family fight. During a news conference after the decision, Warsh said other economic indicators point to a resilient economy.
Even with recent shocks, the trends are positive and reveal solid growth.
President Trump reacted to the decision. Speaking to reporters inside the White House, Trump said while it's not what he would have wanted, he supports Warsh's work.
He's fantastic. He's a brilliant guy, smart. I know I'd love to see lower interest rates, but he's got a board, and it's a political board, and they want to keep rates up.
And a man from Guatemala who was recently deported from the St. Louis area and his wife have been found dead in a sugarcane field with their 1-year-old daughter alive beside them. Guatemalan police say the couple had been reported missing, were found with their hands tied behind their backs. The man's wife had recently returned to Guatemala to reunite with him after he was deported. Authorities are investigating. The couple's 3 kids are now with relatives. Heading over to the 91 next.
If you're looking to sell your home, you call Seller's Advantage. They'll buy your house for cash as is, no need for repairs. They will close in days. They might offer you a $10,000 advance to help you move. Go read the reviews online. You'll get a no obligation offer, 888-321 as is, 888-321 as is, 888-321-2747. They buy as is for cash. Sellersadvantage.com. Let's sing here.
Seller's Advantage will buy your home, make it easy so that you don't have to worry. Sell happy with Seller's Advantage.
DRA number 01961658. Providence Realty, DRA number 01915212.
Southline weather from KFI, low clouds and fog again in the morning and sunny, 80s to mid-90s. Metro LA, 90s to the triple digits in the valleys, the high desert and the IE. Windy again in the high desert and the IE. Mid to upper 70s for the beaches, low to mid 80s inland OC. Right now, 77 in Dana Point. It's 82 in Anaheim, 87 in Diamond Bar, and 83 in Simi Valley. The KFI financial update brought to you by Supershore, supershore.com. One super agency, one powerful platform, all your business insurance in one place. The Dow closed down more than 1,100 points, S&P 500 down 113, and NASDAQ down 434. Crash on the 91 in Cerritos.
This one's on the westbound side, coming up on the 605 freeway. A few cars got into it, blocking the carpool, 2 left lanes. Looks like Highway Patrol ran a break to try to scoot everything off to the shoulder. But let's look at those westbound delays on the 91 as you approach the 605. And that's really stacking up right now. I'm seeing a backup all the way from Valley View. The eastbound side, of course, slowing down to take a look with a slow drive out of Carson, leaving the 110 freeway. The drive on the 605 loading up in Norwalk, northbound from the 105. Looking better in Whittier once you make your way past Beverly Boulevard. And the drive out of East LA, 60 eastbound. That's slowing down from just about Downey Road, and delays continue in stretches all the way to the 57 freeway in Diamond Bar. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
I'm not great with words after a fight, and I'm sorry wasn't cutting it this time. So I used Smile Tunes to write a soulful ballad about how she's always right. By the second chorus, the silent treatment was officially over. Visit smiletunes.com and get out of the doghouse today.
Visit LearCapital.com for your free gold investment kit. That's LearCapital.com.
I was standing in line at the grocery store when a little boy looked at me and said, "Mommy, why does that lady have crayon marks on her legs?" He was talking about my varicose veins, and I was mortified. With summer coming, I knew I couldn't keep hiding them, so I called West Medical. They were kind, understanding, and their treatments are quick, effective, and have little to no downtime. Best of all, most PPO insurance plans are accepted. Call 1-800-WEST-MED for your free, no-obligation consultation, or visit westmedical.com.
I feel incredible because I call 1-800-WEST-MEDICAL.
Therapy Thursday with Ellen K is a brand new podcast, heartbreak, hope, and a whole lot of what would you do. Stream now on the iHeartRadio app and wherever you get your podcasts.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival,
presented by Capital One,
is coming back to Las Vegas.
September 18th and 19th at T-Mobile Arena. Streaming live on Disney Plus and Hulu. A weekend full of superstar performances.
Tickets are on sale now at AXS.com.
Brought to you by Metro by T-Mobile, proud partner of the 2026 iHeartRadio Music Festival. Get that. This is my song feeling. Only at Metro. KFI AM 640.
An iHeart radio station. Guaranteed human.
KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeart Radio app. Hey, John Kobylt Show. We're on from 3 to 6. After 6 o'clock, John Kobylt Show on demand. That's the podcast. Whatever you missed, you could listen to that podcast when we release that in about an hour. We're live on YouTube, live on X, youtube.com/@John Kobylt Show. You can subscribe, become a member. And again, we have the video running on X as well. So there's no excuse to miss anything anymore. We'll talk to Gloria Romero now. Gloria Romero is the Republican candidate for lieutenant governor. She's running on the ticket with Steve Hilton, who, of course, is the gubernatorial candidate. And Gloria, as you may know, was a Democrat until about 2 years ago. She was the first woman to serve as California Senate Majority Leader, switched to the Republican Party, and is now running. And we're going to talk to her here. And I also want to talk about Xavier Becerra and these migrant child abuse camps. He lost track of hundreds of thousands of children. And some of these camps the conditions were just disgusting. And the way the children were treated and abused sexually and physically and mentally is just overwhelming. And Becerra was running this operation. Let's get Gloria Romero on. How are you, Gloria?
Good to be with you. Thank you.
Talk about Becerra's migrant camps. What do you know about this? I know there's a whistleblower involved here. There's former officials in Health and Human Services who served with Becerra who've been telling you and Steve Hilton the stories. What do you know?
Well, let me first set the stage, if you will. These were emergency camps that were set up basically due to Joe Biden's, Kamala Harris's open border strategy. And so the kids that came across, these weren't part of all of the mass migration that we saw on our television sets. These were basically brought in rather clandestine type of operations, oftentimes in the dark of night, unaccompanied minors. These were children. And given the numbers, they needed to have Secretary Becerra at the time, or Secretary Beccerra, as Joe Biden used to call him.
Yes.
So basically, they had to find emergency sites. So 3 places were identified in California. One of them was at the Pomona Fairplex. And I want you just to think for a moment, the Pomona Fairplex, you can imagine if those walls could talk, because once upon a time during World War II, that served as the Pomona Assembly Center, where thousands of Japanese Americans, most of them U.S. citizens, had actually been confined after being transported and then being sent on to wherever they were going to be incarcerated. So basically, you can imagine there's been some very nefarious history at that complex, and you get these big, empty, cavernous buildings. So you can imagine you're a child. You have no idea where you're going. Many kids came across with just a piece of paper saying, I'm supposed to go with my Aunt Mary. Some of them even had just the address written, like etched in, like a tattoo almost, but with a Sharpie written onto their little arms. They had no idea where they were going. Many of these were young girls who we have been told by some of the people who worked in the processing center had been abused or raped along the way. But the horrific stories overall is what they saw when they were there in these holding tanks. And also when they were released, they basically were released under the most minimal conditions, just basically bring them in, get them out of the sight of the secretary, and basically to shut it down. Most of the American public, we had no idea that this was even going on at a fairground in Pomona. So it was really a disaster. They lost kids. It is estimated hundreds of thousands. Many of them were sent out, rushed out, to the extent that we don't even know where they are today. Basically lost kids in America. And the fear is, where did they end up? Were they given to the cartels? Are they working as prostitutes, on the Figueroa corridor in downtown LA? Are they working in some of those illegal marijuana farms that have been raided? Where are the children? And you know what, John, I think no matter if you're a Democrat, a Republican, an independent, most of us are fathers and mothers, or we have little brothers or sisters. These aren't statistics. These are little kids.
Yeah, Kelly, just interrupt you a second. This should not be a political issue. You know, if you have the slightest sense of a conscience, this should really upset you that this was going on in our country by our government. This can't be political. Obviously, they couldn't take care of all these people. This is why we're supposed to have an immigration system. If you actually let millions of people come over the border all at once and hundreds of thousands of kids, well, of course this is going to happen.
Right. And when I heard those whistleblowers speak, when we went into that cavern of a hall on Monday, and we're going back tomorrow for another part of this, it was really very eerie, wondering, what did these little children think? They had no idea where they were. And I pointed out at my press conference on Monday, I said, look, I adopted a little dog. I rescued a little dog from the streets of LA. Do you know that in order for me to adopt officially my little dog, I had to file paperwork with LA County Animal Control. I had to be vetted, cross-examined. We had to post on all these websites. I had to meet potential people asking, they thought maybe this might be their dog. And so I pointed out that it's interesting that it was more difficult to adopt a dog, as much as I love my little dog and his family to me, but it was more rigorous to adopt a little dog, for animal control to let a little animal out of their control than it has been apparently under Secretary Beccerra, who's now running for the governor of the state of California. It is unreal.
All right. Hang on the line. Can you stay another segment?
Sure.
Gloria Romero coming on right now. Lieutenant Governor, running as a Republican with Steve Hilton, who's running for governor. And we're talking about Xavier Beccerra's migrant child abuse camps when he was running Health and Human Services, and those hundreds of thousands of kids unaccompanied were coming here. And Xavier Becerra lost a lot of them. Several 100,000. Deborah Mark, live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Here is the latest. The company that runs the burned-out food storage warehouse in Boyle Heights is facing stronger fines, and DoorDash is building its own drone delivery service. We'll have more at the bottom of the hour. Back to the 91 next.
When it comes to banking, are all of your eggs in one basket? What's going to happen when your card doesn't work? You have to look at the back of the card to find the 800 number, but what happens if your wallet is stolen? Who's going to be that reliable source when you need money or new cards or assurance that your money is safe? Well, you can rest assured you don't have to worry when you have Infinity Bank. Call Victor Guerrero, the president, and set up a new account today. I have one, 657-223-1000. That's his number, 657-223-1000. You can talk to Victor. For a limited time only, don't miss out on one of the best rates in the U.S. with their money market savings account. Infinity Bank.
Southline weather from KFI. Sunny and hot tomorrow, 70s to the triple digits. This report brought to you by Blindster.com. From your Toyota dealer's traffic center, we make it easy. We have an update on that crash on the 91 in Cerritos.
On the westbound side, coming up on the 605 freeway, this wreck has been cleared out of lanes. All lanes are rolling and traffic is recovering, getting away from Carmenita Road. Also, in Fountain Valley, they cleared this crash on the 405 northbound coming up on Euclid. All lanes open, but delays are stacking up out of Irvine, leaving the 133. Also taking a look at the drive in Pasadena, tough on the 210 eastbound from about the 134 freeway. Delays and stretches towards Foothill Boulevard. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. Tired of overpriced blinds? Blindster makes custom blinds simple and affordable. You measure at home, install yourself, and save big. No retail store markups, just custom blinds guaranteed to fit. Blindster.com.
This report is sponsored by Staples. All right, it's officially the most wonderful time of the year at Staples. They've got back-to-school supplies as low as 25 cents, up to 40% off select tech, 20% off for teachers, and more. Check out all the deals at staples.com/back-to-school. Staples, that was easy.
If you're living with constant knee pain and you're dreading surgery, which you should, and you're looking at a long recovery, no fun, Let me tell you about Hoag Orthopedic Institute. Their award-winning knee specialists are changing how knee pain is treated. They offer the most advanced, minimally invasive procedures for faster recovery, better movement, and the care is personalized using the most cutting-edge techniques, including robotic-assisted knee replacement, state-of-the-art cartilage restoration. You get up, get active, and you're going to move without missing months of your life. And they accept most PPO and Medicare insurance plans. So call 800-919-2000 or visit HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com. That's H-O-A-G, HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com. Locations throughout Southern California, proudly physician-owned. That's HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com. Call 800-919-2000.
I've looked into a HELOC and didn't qualify.
HELOC said no. Splitero says go. You only need a 500 minimum credit score and no income requirement. You keep your home and your existing mortgage rate. Visit Splitero.com today and access your home's equity.
I'm Nick Turturro. You probably know me from NYPD Blue, The Longest Yard, or Spike Lee's Black Klansman. And on my new podcast, Delivering Happiness with Nick Turturro, I deliver pizza to a new guest. I've shared a slice with everyone, from Seth Rollins. What are you doing, my belt? To Bill Burr.
I don't think I've ever met somebody so exactly out of their mind.
We even have more great guests coming up, including John Turturro.
It's called happiness. Delivering happiness.
Open your free iHeartRadio app, search Delivering Happiness with Nick Turturro, and listen now.
Why do you love movies? Is it the emotion, the spectacle, the escapism? On Raiders of the Lost podcast, we explore cinema like no one else, including huge interviews with stars like Ryan Gosling on Project Hail Mary.
It was like the Jaws shark. Didn't always work, came with its own problems. That's what made it great. The heart of the movie is Rocky and Grace, and their friendship is hard-earned.
Open your free iHeartRadio app, search Raiders of the Lost podcast, and listen now.
KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk.
Coming up on The Conway Show, Tim Conway Jr. is back hosting The Conway Show. If that's not enough to get you to listen, well, I don't know what is. Tonight on KFI.
$1,000 giveaway.
Now is your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, RICH. That's RICH. Enter it now at KFIAM640.com/cash.
KFI. Rich. Enter that at KFIAM640.com/cash. If you win, you get an email. Check your junk and spam folder. And there's a winning keyword every hour, every weekday from 9 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon. Next chance to win is tomorrow at 9:20 with Gary and Shannon here on KFI. And we continue with Gloria Romero, Lieutenant Governor candidate, Republican, was a Democrat up until a couple of years ago. She saw which way things were going in that party here in California. And she was the first Senate president who was a woman. And so her tenure was historic. And now she's running with Steve Hilton, who is the gubernatorial candidate. And let's get Gloria on for some more. We're talking about Xavier Becerra's migrant child abuse camps. They had a big press conference, and I guess they're having another one tomorrow to talk about what was going on there. Becerra, do you think what I don't understand? I don't understand how Becerra could live with himself, knowing that the children were suffering so much, and some of them really were sold into sex slavery, prostitution rings, and others went to horrific factories, slaughterhouses, meatpacking plants, farm work, and they're so young, some of them. How does he live with himself, and why has he gotten away with this?
Well, that's the question we posed to him. We've called upon the secretary, the former secretary, to tell us what he knows and when did he know it. We have been duped in California. Basically, everybody's trying to be silent, and nobody has any official statistics on just simply what happened to these children. We know from whistleblowers who have had the courage to stand up and talk about this, that children were brought into the camps. They were kept in these open cavernous type hallways. And basically, sometimes they would be left, taken away in the middle of the night. They were told essentially not to report on reported issues of sexual harassment, molestation, abuse. Some cases, like this one little girl, she was 5 years old. 5 years old. Her sister, who she believed to be about 7 years old, They had been separated in the processing, and little Grace, as she was called, the little girl, she was just, tormented. Like, where's my sister? This is the only family she knows. And ultimately, little Grace was transported out of the center. The whistleblower says they couldn't even do welfare checks, follow-up checks, because they were kept in the dark about what happened. So yes, I'm a mother. I care about these kids. Steve is a father. Xavier Becerra is a father. And we ask him, anybody with just a heart, we should look for these children. Where are they? It's not too late to find them. And we do know, John, this is a big issue and something that I'm going to be looking at as Lieutenant Governor of the state of California, is we know that California, Los Angeles, is the epicenter of human sex trafficking. And it's not unusual to find very young-looking girls. We estimate some maybe as young as 9 years old parading on that Figueroa corridor.
Oh, that's horrible, that area.
These girls, did they end up there? Or are they in some illegal marijuana farm where you can't even go near because we believe they're run by cartels? It is shocking, and Becerra is tight-lipped. They've kept it quiet. They kept it from the public, but it's blown open now, and we're thankful because whistleblowers have stepped up, and we're calling on other whistleblowers. Tell us what you know. You will be protected. We just want to find the kids and hold the adults responsible, and that includes Secretary Becerra.
His silence on this, he waves away any discussion by saying, oh, those are Trump talking points. Like, he doesn't even engage. He doesn't even particularly deny this. And I guess it cannot be denied. So he just disappears, thinking he's got a lead and he's bulletproof. Nobody's going to get to him politically.
Right. And that's why I thank you for shining the light on this. Some of our local media has begun to pay attention to this. I think they figured that, people just wouldn't talk about it. But I call upon every candidate running for state office. Where are you on these issues? These are missing children.
Well, this happened here. This happened in LA County.
Right under our noses. And the people didn't know about it until these whistleblowers began to step forward saying, this is what we saw. Because most of this was done in the dark of night. And remember, it's intentional. They're children. And so children are frightened. They're without their mother or father. They're often alone. They don't know where they're going. They feel threatened, most likely. Some of the whistleblowers were talking about how many of them needed to have some counseling, and it was denied. And basically saying, like don't feed the kids. Don't talk to them. Just move them in, move them out.
Let me ask you one more thing, and I got to do the news. Why would they do this? What possible reason would they allow this to happen?
I really believe that it was known that these children were going to be trafficked. I hate to say that, but I really believe that, human sex trafficking, it's the number one issue. These are children. It might have been originally under the pretext of family reunification, but this doesn't explain it. If it was family reunification, if these kids were really being hurt or injured in the country of origin, you would think that we would want to find out and take every precaution to reunify that child with their rightful parent or guardian, as my little lost dog was when animal control was trying to find out, is there really a dog owner out there before we hand them over to you, Gloria Romero. And so I think that it's nefarious. It's a dark side, but human sex trafficking, we should not be so surprised that it does not occur. LA is the human sex trafficking capital of California, and it happens on any given morning, afternoon, and evening right down in the Figueroa corridor in downtown Los Angeles.
And they were getting supplied by Xavier Becerra's Health and Human Services Department, by his migrant child camps. That's where they were getting they getting the new supply of young girls that they could sell in the streets. That's just so disgusting.
Trafficker. Yeah. Whether he intended it or not, that's what he became, the chief sex trafficker of little girls, little boys, and now they're lost. We want to find them. Steve Hilton and I will not give up on this. We are demanding to follow. If you can follow the money, you can follow the trail. We can follow these children. Where are they? Somebody knows. We want to find them.
Gloria, when you and Steve find out even more, please, one or both of you, come back on the show and tell us, all right?
Will do. Thank you so much, and thank you to your listeners. Please get involved.
Gloria Romero running with Steve Hilton. She's running for lieutenant governor. Hilton running for governor against Xavier Becerra. And yeah, he was like the chief sex trafficking officer when he was running Health and Human Services. You heard the story. Deborah Mark is live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
A dangerous heat wave is expected to grip Southern California starting tomorrow and continuing through the weekend. The National Weather Service says inland temps could climb into the upper 90s and low 100s, with some desert communities topping 110 degrees. The news is brought to you by Pacific Coast Termite. The company that runs that burned-out food storage warehouse in Boyle Heights now faces stronger fines.
The fines against Lineage Logistics are going from $500 a day to $2,000 a day. That according to the LA Department of Public Health. They say flies and the smell of rotting food continue to be a big problem in Boyle Heights and acknowledge that while Lineage is working to clean things up, fines will continue as long as the problems continue. Among other things, Lineage must get rid of all the food and stop the flies and rodents from breeding and spreading into the neighborhood. And if the problems get worse, the fines will get bigger. Jason Nathanson, KFI News.
LA County Department of Health officials are reporting a typhus outbreak in the Pico Union neighborhood.
They say 5 people in the neighborhood have been hospitalized so far this year, but have since recovered. The disease, which is transferred by fleas, is continuing to increase, with 220 flea-borne typhus cases in LA County last year. Infected fleas are commonly found on rats, free-roaming cats, and opossums. Symptoms usually develop 1 to 2 weeks after infection and can include fever, headache, rash, body aches, chills, nausea, and vomiting. Officials recommend using flea control products on pets year-round as a precaution. Eileen Gonzalez, KFI News.
A gun violence prevention group is calling for a Republican congressman to quit.
Max Miller from Ohio is accused of holding a gun to his ex-wife's head, scalding her with hot water, and breaking their daughter's collarbone. Miller, who's running for re-election, is denying the allegations from Emily Moreno, who's also the daughter of Senator Bernie Moreno from Ohio. Lawmakers in Congress have been looking at possible sexual misconduct reforms after a Republican and a Democrat stepped down after allegations. Speaker Mike Johnson says Miller and another Republican accused of domestic violence are not being asked to resign because the key word there is allegations. Michael Crozier, KFI News.
President Trump has announced a $22 billion renovation of Washington Dulles International Airport. It will include the removal of the people movers, and instead, the airport will add a new U-shaped passenger train, a central walking tunnel, moving walkways, and new concourses. Trump says this will make it one of the best airports anywhere in the world.
We are announcing plans to add more than 5 million square feet of new or renovated space. We'll replace the current C and D concourses, which are basic disasters, all the while preserving the iconic original terminal.
Administration officials say airlines, not taxpayers, will finance the project, although some congressional approvals are still expected. And DoorDash is building its own drone delivery service, including its own aircraft.
The company's robotics and autonomy team is developing a new business called DoorDash Air after receiving air carrier certification from the FAA. The certification allows the company to legally operate a commercial drone delivery service in the United States. The service will eventually be available within the company's delivery app. DoorDash has not said when its drones will begin delivering food to customers. Daniel Martindale, KFI News.
We're going to the 14 next.
Sweet James, if you're injured in an accident, you need results right away. And your attorneys at Sweet James deliver them. When a firm like Sweet James has a reputation for taking cases to trial and winning, insurance companies know they can't mess with their clients. The big corporations are great at treating you like a number. Sweet James makes sure that they treat you like a person by telling your story and helping you recover what was taken from you. Sweet James has recovered over $1 billion for injured accident victims. If you're hurt in a car, truck, or motorcycle accident, call your accident attorneys at Sweet James, and you pay no costs or fees until they win. And the case review is free. 800-9-million is their phone number, 800-9-000-000, with an office in Los Angeles. Results not guaranteed. 800-9-million, 800-9-000-000, sweetjames.com.
Southland weather from KFI, low clouds and fog again in the morning, then sunny, highs 80s to mid-90s. Metro LA, 90s to the triple digits in the valleys, the high desert, and the IE. Windy again in the high desert and the IE. Mid to upper 70s for the beaches, low to mid 80s inland OC. Right now, 80 in Laguna Woods and 84 in Rancho Santa Margarita. Slow on the 14 in Santa Clarita.
It's on that northbound side where delays fill in at the 5, heading northbound in stretches all the way to Sand Canyon. Better after that. We're also looking at the southbound side of the 14. Looks fine through that stretch. Tough rolling on the 405. This is heading northbound out of Culver City. Delays from the 90. You're on the brakes all the way to the 5 merge into Sylmar. Southbound slowing out of West LA from Santa Monica Boulevard. Delays continue all the way to Palo Verde and Long Beach. Also tough is at 91 eastbound, overall slowing, leaving the 110 freeway, getting out of the Carson area. Delays continue all the way to Green River in Corona and in Rubidoux. East 60 slows from Rubidoux Boulevard. Delays in stretches all the way into Moreno Valley, opening up past Frederick Street. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. You get a handshake, he gets a commission, and he's done. You may not hear from him again until it's time for renewal. And you run a business? Well, your business runs all year, and so do the gaps in your insurance and the risk you take. So I'm telling you about SuperSure. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, the CFO, the HR manager, the whole thing can be too complicated just to buy a policy online. SuperSure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team. At supersure.com, you can access tools like Find, Print, Fax. It translates your current policy into plain English, so you know what's going on. You see what's covered and what's not. Plus, you get a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth, and you know exactly what needs protecting. Supersure.com, one super agency, one powerful platform, and all your policies in one place. Supersure.com. Supersure.com.
Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
Worried about inflation, market volatility, or the weakening dollar? More Americans are turning to physical gold and silver to help diversify their retirement savings. Right now, receive up to $25,000 in free silver with a qualifying purchase. Call 888-447-7857 now to speak with a gold specialist. That's 888-447-7857. Again, call 888-447-7857. Not a financial advisor. Precious metals involve risk. Free silver offers a 10% bonus in silver on qualifying purchases of premium mint coins. $10,000 minimum purchase required. Bonus silver capped to $25,000 and credited to customer accounts. See goldencrestmetals.com for full terms.
Therapy Thursday with Ellen K is now a podcast. Love triangles, family feuds, secrets that should probably stay secret. Sponsored by Airtasker. Post your task. Get help from a tasker. Get anything done. That's a stress buster. And binge Therapy Thursday with Ellen K on the iHeartRadio app and wherever you get your podcasts.
Curious how you would look? PlasticSurgeryUncensored.com. PlasticSurgeryUncensored.com.
Tap into happy hour with half-price pizzas and select apps every weekday at Yard House. Find yours at yardhouse.com.
Avoiding shorts because of your varicose veins? Just call 1-800-WEST Medical.
Silver is no longer just a commodity, it's a strategic resource. Global demand is hitting record highs while supply remains tight. Visit LearCapital.com for your free silver report. LearCapital.com, LearCapital.com.
When power goes out and cell networks fail, AM radio can be a lifeline with local news, weather, and emergency information. But time is running out. AM radio could disappear from new cars unless Congress acts. Please text the 2 letters AM to 39179 and tell Congress to vote yes on the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act. Text the letters AM to 39179. Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop. This message furnished by this station.
Call 844-GO-SMILE to learn about the new Lifestyle Smile dental implants from Lasting Smiles.
Accident or injury, call Jacob and Ronnie. Call Jacob 1-800-345-6789. Call Jacob.
This July, celebrate your independence with $1,776 on new windows at American Vision Windows.
KFI. More stimulating talk.
An iHeart radio station.
Can't find AIM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. John Kobylt Show on from 3 to 6 after 6 o'clock. John Kobylt Show on demand. That is the podcast that we release. And it's the same as radio show. If you miss stuff, that's where you go. First hour, we did a tremendous amount on Anthony Fauci getting getting beaten up and bloodied by a couple of Republican senators, Rand Paul's Senate committee, looking into all of Fauci's crimes. And there were crimes. When you've been given a pardon by the president of the United States, and then you invoke the Fifth Amendment 111 times, you know you've done a lot of bad things. And I also would like to know what he gave a Fifth Amendment answer to the CIA involvement with his health agency. They were funding things. There's a lot of dark stuff going on that we still don't even know about. And I don't believe or trust anybody. On top of that list is our psychopath governor, Gavin Newsom. Boy, it's not a good year to be Gavin Newsom. It's not a good month because he's hired a major attorney, Abby Lowell, to represent him and his grifter wife, Jennifer. This is how bad it is for Gavin Newsom. Abby Lowell is or was Hunter Biden's lawyer. Okay. This is where Gavin Newsom is right now. He's in Hunter Biden territory, who would be in prison if his dad hadn't given him a pardon. I don't think there's anybody available to give Newsom a pardon. But he's under a federal investigation, as you know. And then yesterday, his old mistress, Ruby Rippey, told in great personal, intimate detail about her affair with Newsom. And if you want to hear more about that and you missed it, Deborah Mark's performance as Ruby Rippey yesterday, it was the first hour of our show, and that's on yesterday's podcast. Still rave reviews coming in, and I understand you might be touring.
Yes.
Yes, right. There's a chance.
Tickets are going to be very expensive.
You'll wear one of your outfits.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Now it's stirring up other unresolved rumors about Gavin Newsom's private life. Katie Grimes in California Globe, she flashed back to November of 2021, and this has never been fully explained. That remember, Gavin Newsom was allegedly involved with one of his cabinet staff members. This is a woman, Deputy Chief of Staff, Lindsay Kobylt. Lindsay Kobyld's name was trending on Google with questions such as Gavin Newsom, or queries such as Gavin Newsom, Newsom affair, Gavin Newsom affair. And so there were a lot of people interested in what was going on with her and Gavin Newsom. This seemed to be a lot of gossip swirling around him. A lot of political reporters were spreading this stuff privately. And some of this made it publicly online. I remember Ken and I doing some stories on this. Lindsay Kobylt had been promoted just as the push to recall Newsom hit its peak in March of 2021. Now, you fast forward to that November, and this was 6 months into the rumors. Newsom was supposed to go to the United Nations Climate Change Conference, but he disappeared for 10 days. He last made a public appearance on October 27th of 2021. He got his coronavirus booster. And then 2 days later, on the 29th, he pulled out of the United Nations Climate Change Conference, claiming family obligations. It was a very abrupt pullout. And of course, climate change was one of his bizarre obsessions. Well, the California Globe at the time had gotten a credible tip from a very credible source that Jennifer Newsom, she was the one who canceled Gavin from going to Glasgow because she discovered that Lindsay Kobylt was on the list of the governor's staff traveling to Scotland with him. And by then, that rumor had really taken root. And again, it was political reporters spreading it to the point that it was making Google trending lists. And so when Jennifer saw that Lindsay was going on this 10-day trip with Gavin, suddenly Gavin had some family obligations that he had to attend to, like a furious wife. And so it must have been something big to pull out of a climate conference, because that issue has been the center of his political existence for years. And later on in the story, Katie Grimes goes through Newsom's predatory behavior and how it's connected to narcissistic personality disorder. And I often call him the narcissistic psychopath, because predatory sexual actions are connected to these characteristics, first of all. And tell me if Newsom checks all these boxes. Lack of concern for the well-being of others, not only in the case of his mistresses, but you remember when he shut down the whole state and tens of thousands of businesses closed and thousands of people lost their jobs and hundreds of thousands of children were denied education? Did he care? No, he didn't care. Many other states didn't do that. A superficial social charm is another behavior characteristic of somebody with narcissistic personality disorder. So I guess we're 2 for 2 there. He certainly has superficial charm. Number 3, self-absorption. Well, we're on a roll here. Number 4, limited empathy. Number 5, impulsivity, such as bedding down anybody who's got a desk outside your door. And number 6, manipulative tendencies. And it not only applies, again, to the mistresses, but COVID. Didn't care about how his policies hurt other people. Wasn't empathetic to any of us and the stuff we had to go through. Katie Grimes wrote, I sat through his tedious daily press briefings for 3 years, done on Zoom instead of in person. And he ignored reasonable questions about the irrationality of his tyrannical decisions. Eventually, he ended questions altogether and just would deliver his dictates: masking, vaxxing, lockdown businesses, lockdown schools, lockdown churches. And I'd forgotten about this. His bizarre color-coded levels for reopening based on testing, not actual deaths. Thanksgiving 2020, he told residents, stay home, no singing, no shouting, no music, no parties, eat outside, and keep a mask on. This actually was, and everybody's forgotten this crap. Except when he goes to the French Laundry in a crowded, claustrophobic room without any ventilation, and everybody's sitting around drinking. And it was health industry lobbyists there, people in the healthcare industry. They were sitting during the lockdown. Nobody was afraid. And he was never really questioned on that. And it was the one question I wanted one of these idiot reporters to ask is, why weren't you afraid? Why weren't you afraid of catching it? With all the warnings you gave and all the restrictions you gave, weren't you sitting there terrified? A lot of people were. I know a lot of people who believed all the warnings and they were afraid. I remember walking down the street once without a mask. My wife and I took a walk. I just wouldn't wear a mask in public. I refused to. And there was a couple walking towards us. They crossed the street.
I had that happen to me in my neighborhood almost every day. Outside.
They crossed the street. But it didn't bother Newsom. All right, we got more. Deborah Mark Live, KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Here's the latest. Many Boyle Heights residents say they don't want Lineage Logistics to rebuild its warehouse in Boyle Heights. And Dr. Fauci's been questioned by a Senate panel over his response to the COVID-19 pandemic. We'll have more at the top of the hour, going to the 101 next.
GiveMeTheVIN.com. You can sell your car in a hot minute. You ought to try it. Enter your VIN number. Get an offer fast. GiveMeTheVIN.com. Their offers beat CarMax, Carvana every day. And if they can't do it, they'll pay you $100. GiveMeTheVIN.com. You'll get your check on the spot. Super easy, super fast. GiveMeTheVIN.com. America's best car buyer.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVIN.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Southland weather from KFI. Sunny tomorrow, 70s to the triple digits for the highs. This report brought to you by Blindster.com. From your Toyota dealer's traffic center, we make it easy. Slow on the 101 in Calabasas.
It's that southbound side, and it's looking crowded getting away from Lost Hills. You're on the brakes all the way to the 170, 134 split. And you've got pocket delays in the Cahuenga Pass as you roll into Hollywood and downtown Los Angeles. That northbound side of the 101, delays begin in Hollywood, leaving Melrose, taking you all the way to White Oak and Encino. And the 134 westbound, that's backing up from Forest Lawn Drive all the way to the 170, 101. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
Infinity Bank, when it comes to banking, are all of your eggs in one basket? What happens when your card doesn't work? You have to look at the back of the card to find the 800 number. What happens if your wallet is stolen? Who will be that reliable source when you need money, new cards, or assurance that your money is safe? Rest assured, you won't have to worry about that with Infinity Bank. You call Victor Guerrero. He's the president of the bank, and set up a new account with him today. I did. Call 657-223-1000, 657-223-1000 for a limited time only. Don't miss out on one of the best rates in the U.S. with their money market savings account. Infinity Bank.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. Tired of overpriced blinds? Blindster makes custom blinds simple and affordable. You measure at home, install yourself, and save big. No retail store markups, just custom blinds guaranteed to fit. Blindster.com.
This report is sponsored by Anthem Blue Cross. Anthem Blue Cross and Chicas Verdes are helping students throughout Los Angeles learn how to grow and prepare their own healthy food. They're joined by Sparks and will provide education, recipes, and knowledge to students and families. Learn more at anthem.com/ca/Sparks. Anthem Blue Cross is the trade name of Blue Cross of California.
Is it time to sell your home? Maybe you want to downsize. Maybe you want to move, or maybe you inherited a home that you just don't want to hang on to.
Whatever your reasons to sell, call Seller's Advantage. Seller's Advantage has been buying homes for decades. Their seller reviews speak for themselves.
They are people who buy from people and will provide custom solutions that work for your needs.
They offer and will buy with cash, and they can close in days. The great part is you don't have to worry about spending money on repairs, preparing your home to be shown, or having people come in and out.
It's just a great offer and easy that's going to give you peace of mind so you can walk away happy.
So if it's time to sell your home, call Seller's Advantage for a free, no obligation offer today.
888-321-AS-IS. That's 888-321-AS-IS.
888-321-2747 and visit sellersadvantage.com.
Don't worry, sell happy with Seller's Advantage.
DRE number 019-61658. Providence Realty DRE number 019-15212.
With Norwegian Cruise Line, you don't have to choose. Incredible beaches and world-class dining, jungle backdrops, and poolside lounging. Book your Mexican Riviera cruise sailing from LA or San Diego. Visit ncl.com, call your travel advisor, or 1-888-NCL-CRUISE.
Let's talk about Genesis of Van Nuys. Just like the boys in blue, they are champions. One of the largest inventories of Genesis vehicles anywhere on earth. And guess what? You want to go see Jack Ribicoff right off the 405 at Roscoe? Great. Go say hello. He wants to meet you. He's the GM of the whole place. You want to do everything online? That's fine. GenesisofVanNuys.com. Find your vehicle, set up your financing or lease terms. They will drive that vehicle right to you. And again, this is one of the largest inventories, whether it's EV, coupe, sedan, you name it, they got it. It's GenesisofVanNuys.com.
If you run a business, you know the value of trust. It's what keeps your customers coming back. And it's what you get when you advertise with iHeart. More than 75% of listeners consider iHeart hosts their friends and trust their recommendations. Now take that trusted influence and combine it with iHeart's massive reach and scale, and you've got the formula for growing your business. Learn how easy it is to tell your story through our voices. Call 844-844-iHeart today. That's 844-844-iHeart.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk.
Coming up on the next Gary and Shannon show.
Retirement communities are attracting a new demographic, college kids.
The Gary and Shannon show starts tomorrow morning at 9.
KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeart Radio app. Conway is back today. Is that right? Conway coming back from his Alaskan cruise with all those KFI listeners. Well, that should be entertaining. He'll be on in just a few minutes. Moist Line for us is Friday, 877-MOIST-86, 877-MOIST-86, or use the talkback feature on the iHeart app. And right after 6 o'clock, you can listen to the podcast of today's show, John Kobylt Show on Demand. And you could watch the video that was running live all day on X and YouTube. That's recorded, and it'll be there for you as well. Nick Reiner, the son of Rob Reiner and Michelle Reiner, you know that story. He viciously stabbed them to death. He's got an extreme mental illness because in jail they disciplined him. It seems like he should be locked up in a mental institution for the next 100 years. He became extremely hostile. Now, what qualifies as extremely hostile in a jail? He extremely hostile towards the deputies while he was waiting to be escorted back to his cell after taking a shower. He was recalcitrant, created a verbal disturbance, refused to follow rules, not listening to any commands. He was yelling, screaming, being disrespectful, shouting many profanities because his brain is fried. His brain is non-functioning. It's not just he's a bad guy. It's that he's lost control of his brain. And really the only thing that anybody could have done with him is get a judge to put him away in a mental institution for life. And that was what the family needed to accomplish. And unfortunately, I don't know what the circumstances are, but he was still living free with them, and you can see what happened. And now he's gone through increasing deterioration. He got frustrated because the deputies had not returned to escort him back to his cell. He had finished showering. He'd put on a new set of inmate clothing. And where are the deputies? I guess you can't walk around without an escort. They were responding to an overdose that occurred in another unit. So Nick Reiner became very impatient, upset, and hostile because no one was coming back right away. And he got frustrated and angry. The deputy called for backup, and 3 guards had to respond. And so it took at least a sheriff, a sergeant, and 3 others. This happened a few weeks ago. Actually, 2 months ago. It's just getting reported now. A source close to the Reiner family had said he's rapidly deteriorating. Nobody would recognize him. He's almost bald because they have to keep his hair super short to keep the bugs out. He's super skinny because of the intense medication he's on. His eyes very sunken in. He's not been well for many years, but before jail, some of his personality could be recognized. Now he's like a babbling child, totally out of it. His lawyers have a hard time talking to him. Yeah. It's 2 counts of first-degree murder with special circumstances, so he'd be up for the death penalty. But the mind is gone. Well, his schizophrenia, maybe the drugs, all of it. And, he'll never be saved. It's actually a hopeless case. We're just going to have to pay for his incarceration forever. When we come back, it'll be tomorrow. We're done here. Tim Conway is next. He's back from his Alaska cruise. We've got Michael Crozier live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.